SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
I push that weight to get that dough, but I don't break cause I've been broke. If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again. It ain't no race if I don't win. I push that weight to get that dough, but I don't break cause I've been broke. If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again. It ain't no race if I don't win. Trust I'm coming up for that top spot, coming up for that throne. Trust I'm coming up for that drop top, coupe sitting on chrome.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Grind. I am your host, Korrey, and we are here to talk about all things WWE. You can catch The Grind every single Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's right, 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on SIRTOBA Media. That's right, SIRTOBA Media. Check us out. So, Today is a little different than the normal setup. Yes, as you can see, we are live. It's Wrestlemania season. And what better way to celebrate than to do something new? So, hey, today we are live with you all. I'm happy to see you all here. But if you saw the last episode of The Grind, if you've been watching us during the week, I told you, it's not just me. It's not just me. And finally, for the first time in The Grind's history, the man that made this all happen, the creator, the brainchild behind SIRTOBA Media, Mr. Drew Willingham is here live today. Drew, what's going on, fam?
Hey, my man, with two N's, it is an honor, it is a joy, and it is a privilege to be here with you. The promos are going to be live and hot today, and at some point, that belt down there is going to be on my shoulder, and we're going to be talking some stuff today as we got a great WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 to preview for these guys out here in these streams.
So, I mean, you already mentioned it. Like, we're going to talk about everything that goes on with WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. So, I mean, let's get started. Let's jump right into what we got going on.
All right. So, when it comes to that, we've got a pretty big championship match that got announced that yesterday that you are definitely really privy to. Why don't you let them know what we got in store here for this first match?
So when we look at Saturday night, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, by the way, the first match already announced is the World Heavyweight Championship. The Ring General Gunta will defend against Main Event. The Yeet Man, 4 letters, 1 word, Jey Uso. So, Mr. Drew Willingham, being that this is your first time on the show, sir, I would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this match?
Man, it's been a time coming since we needed to see Jey Uso in a championship match like this on this type of stage. You know, the crowd's been going wild for him over the past couple of years, and deservingly so. I have got the Fatu Dynasty shirt on today. Is my pick in this match. My heart goes to Main Event Jey Uso, and I really want to pick Jey Uso. I just have a feeling, and I don't even want to go this route. I really don't. That some way, somehow he's going to get screwed out of this. I just have a feeling. You know, you've seen the squabbles within the bloodline. You know, we've already been there. We've done that with War Games over the past few months. We've seen, you know, how things have kind of fizzled out, but it's never over. You know, they can always go back into that storyline, and somebody could be jealous of Jey being on that stage. It's not going to be his twin brother, of course, because they've already been there and done that recently. But there are other members of the family who have recently been signed to WWE that could, I mean, on this stage, could it happen? It's possible. At the same time, with my heart and this shirt that's on, okay? The shirt that's on, I want to select Jey Uso as the one that wins this match. And I feel like he has to because of the way the crowd has shifted in his favor. He's more over than what Cody is as the WWE champion at this time. He winning the World Heavyweight Championship would be big and especially a great way to start off WrestleMania. Even though I feel like he's going to get screwed somehow, my heartstrings are pulling me more in the direction to select Jey Uso as the winner of this match tonight.
Mr. Willingham.
I knew it was coming.
Actually, we agree.
Yes!
So when it comes to this match, it makes no sense to build this story how they've been building it. With Jay losing so much to Gunther over the last, I guess, he's 0-3 against Gunther in championship matches since Gunther has been world heavyweight champion. And when you think about what Gunther did to Jimmy, okay, Big Jim, pause. But what he did to Jimmy in front of Jay, like, we've been watching wrestling long enough. We know when there are some key indicators on when somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. Just like another key indicator came up last night on SmackDown, which we will talk about later on in the card. But when it comes to this match, it's they gotta have a feel-good moment to start off WrestleMania. Wink, wink. So I definitely full-heartedly agree. I think Jey Uso is going to walk out as champion. The only thing I beg of them, is that Jey Uso has more than three moves. I need him to get out of the super kicks, the splashes, and the spears. I need to see a wrestling match. Matter of fact, you know what, Drew? What he did to his brother, I need a fight.
Oh,
right? Okay. I need him to beat the dog crap out of Gunther, because Gunther gonna show up. So I think it's Jey Uso ultimately overcoming, but I need to see more out of the Jey Uso package.
Okay. Now, I don't think he's as bad as the he can't wrestle himself John Cena Fruity Pebbles, okay? I don't think he's quite along those lines. I mean, I get what you're saying. And I'm with you on that as far as he have to step it up a notch as far as he needs a little bit more to add to his repertoire of moves throughout a match and not really do like the same old song and dance, kind of like what Ric Flair was known for. Like Ric Flair had a very Ric Flair style match is like Hulk Hogan. Okay. They all had the same kind of match every single time they went out there for the most part. He might have had a little tweak here or there. Something might have happened a little bit sooner or a little bit later than within the match, but it was very similar to what you saw in the previous or in the next match. So look at Ric Flair's final match. No shade thrown. I'm just saying a lot of the stuff that he did, he was still able to do at that age because it was a Ric Flair scripted match. So I don't think that he's as bad as far as that goes to where we need to kind of categorize him as the Jey Uso style match, but he's not far from it if he doesn't, add some more things throughout time. But I think that being on the stage that he is, he's going to get the opportunity now to showcase that he can do more than what he's already done.
I mean, I really hope so. I really do, because, if he can't, then this title reign won't be long if he wins. Because the fans, as we kind of saw last night on SmackDown, started to turn on Cody a little bit by booing him, even though he can wrestle. So, first segment, okay, we kind of brushing the rust off a little bit here. It's been a while since Mr. Willingham and I have been together live here, and I'm so happy to have him on the show today.
We have guests. We have guests in the comments with us, Korrey. Not to cut you off, but we're not alone. We are not alone today, as we got some friends, your friends out here. Thaddeus out here saying, yo, hype, ready to rock and roll for WrestleMania weekend. What's up?
That's my brother. What's going on, brother?
And our brother as well out here, fellow podcaster Brian McCarthy of No Credentials Required, is out here saying, yo, and shout out to him. He extended an invite for me to come on to his show this morning, but unfortunately with timing and some other plans, I was unable to make it. But hopefully soon I can get on there, talk some football, maybe some wrestling, just like I am today here with my man with two ends. Hey, first match kind of flabbergasted.
I mean,
you got to set the tone.
Yeah, I don't know about flabbergasted. I don't mind it.
I'm more flabbergasted at the fact that CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins are the main event. Even though, yes, you look at the caliber of the talent, and they deserve that type of spot. But there's nothing really on the line at the same time. To me, we'll get into that more later. Yes, I kind of feel like this match should be at that point, but if you can't be last in the main event, you either want to be first or last on the show. You want to set the tone, or you want to be the main event to close the show and be the last thing that they see. So you can't put this match as a mid-card match.
I agree with that 1,000%. It's either you first or last on that WrestleMania card, especially with how long it goes. No, I'm good.
Hey, we appreciate that. We have good chemistry. This is not our first rodeo. We, even from the first time my man joined the show, wasn't it like episode 13 of In or Out Sports Debate? I think it was. That was the first time we ever did anything with my platform, but we had done something with Darrell before that and talked wrestling on one of his podcasts. I think it was Legacy on Fire. It was
Legacy on Fire. Yes, sir.
And that was the first time I was like, man, I got to get up with this dude again. We had some great conversation then within sports, not just wrestling, but football, because I'm a big football fan, and baseball as well, myself. And we just hit it off, and, not too far apart from where we were living at the same time. Still mad we couldn't make it where we couldn't get up at the same time, while you were living pretty close by before you moved. But you're still not too far. We're going to have to make it happen before too long.
Oh, for sure. We definitely going to make that happen.
We got to have one of these live units in person so we could both be on the same screen. Have a little sit down. Yeah, we'll get like one of those Holiday Inn business rooms rented out, for a hundo. If it is that cheap, be like, hey, we need this for a podcast. Treat this like a library. Y'all be quiet. We gotta do a podcast. We gotta talk some stuff in person. But no, we appreciate the chemistry comment. My man is awesome. He says, I'm cool with it being first. Okay. He says he's cool with it being first. And Jason's here and says, yo, as well. Got some people up in the house today. That's what I'm talking about. Hype and ready for WrestleMania.
Hey, Ike, what's going on, man? And I mean, like my look like my whole bloodline in here. All of them are my brothers. So it's
hey, show up when it's important, and this is definitely an important situation. This is the Super Bowl of wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. You have got to love this weekend if you are a fan of professional wrestling. If not, you are sleeping under a rock at this time. But thank you all for the comments so far. Coming on in. When it comes to this match right here, Jay, I feel like you just have to capitalize on the moment here. Yet you have to. It's if not, Trips is the one writing this thing, and I feel like you'd be dropping the ball big if you don't put the belt on him at this time. After everything you've invested with the Bloodline story over the past 5 years, this is literally a half of a decade buildup between when Roman came back at SummerSlam and now for this whole family story. I just feel like if you don't put the belt on Jay at this time, you wasted all that time and all that build and everything that came with it up to this point.
I don't know. And I'm glad you made that point, because I feel like sometimes WWE misses the mark when it's time to strike the iron when it's hot. Like, I feel like, okay, another program that WWE's partners with is TNA. They finally put the World Heavyweight Championship on Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry was hot, like end of last year, fall of last year, or something like that. He kept popping up on NXT. And then they waited until like a month ago to put the title on him. And I'm just like, I get it. Sometimes we want to try to fill out the entire story, but like, you got to hit the iron when it's hot sometimes. I'm sorry. You can't wait. The person that's selling the most, the person that's over the most, that's the person that's the champion. Point blank, period.
Absolutely. Look back at when Jay won the Intercontinental Championship. Okay. Leading up to that, there was some frustrations because of how much time it took to put the Intercontinental Championship on him. Because they wanted to see how he could do with the singles run. Because with the hype that he was getting, it looked like he was leaning more towards the actual legitimacy part of the main event moniker, right? So you finally put the belt on him after all that time. He's still, even though a lot of people like LA Knight, you kind of delayed that a little bit and you missed the boat a little bit because the hype had kind of gone down with the fans. This is one of the rare situations where the hype continued and the momentum continued in favor of Jay. This stuff doesn't really happen that often to where consistently, regardless of a slip up in booking here or there, which everybody makes mistakes. Even he admitted it last night in his Hall of Fame speech. You can't write everything perfect. You're doing your best to make everybody happy, but you can't always do that. So it's not like it's intentional, like somebody else up there playing writer God that we know about before, that I'm going to steer clear of talking his name, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. My man with two ends. Okay. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But right here and now, I gotta say, we have to admit, this is the closest thing to Attitude Era V-Man as far as writing that we had. And even then, he wasn't the only one doing it. This time it's different because you have Trips actually truly spearheading it and actually directing it in the right direction for the most part. So I feel like with this story, we're going to get out of it what we truly want. And Gunther deserves a run with the undisputed WWE Championship at some point for the things that he's done, especially towards the end of this run as World Heavyweight Champion. I'm not saying right now, but you put it on Jay, give Gunther a little bit of a break from TV, or you have him working the other talent to elevate them. And at some point, when the time's right in the next year or two, you put the undisputed championship on him because he deserves to be the number one in the company because that's the number one belt.
Yeah, for sure. Gunther, he has just been phenomenal, man, and I don't think he gets enough credit. Like the way he transformed himself. By the way, he went from being Walter to Gunther, slimmed down, still has the same power, still can do the same moves. I mean, like
without a hiccup,
not at all.
Yes,
like, he has spent 80% of his time in WWE as champion. That is just asinine to think about. 80% of his time he has been a champion. So to your point of being undisputed champion, I mean, it would make sense because of how much time he has spent as champion. I hope they go into deeper character development for him. Let's see, what other aspects of his character can we see? That would be probably was more fulfilling for me in the moment. But I agree with you. I think eventually he should be the face. He dresses the part. He's savvy. He went on that LFG show with the rookies and tore them apart. Like
you've been watching that each week, so have I. That's a great show. I like that
show. It's a great
show. What's that? BJ Ray. I don't like that guy.
Oh my god,
don't like that guy at all. He annoys the expletive out of me, man. Like he really does. Like every bit of Bubba interaction that he has with it, I love what Bubba's doing to him because he deserves to be punked out because that's what he literally is. And you get the opportunity to come back. You watched last week, right?
Yep.
But you get the opportunity to come back, right? And you have a tag match with your dude that took your spot. And you have the opportunity to at least showcase why you should still be there. And instead you are selfish and you risk people getting hurt in the way that you do that too. Like the fact that we saw the highlights for this upcoming week as they're going to wrestle each other and one of the best men should win. Like, I don't like how they're carrying this out. He should definitely be removed from that thing by this point. I don't know why they keep giving him opportunities, especially after that. Like, why are you going to have a wrestle off to stay within the show when you have shown multiple times? One, you can't stay healthy. Two, you are selfish and not a good team player. And three, you are reckless to where you can get people hurt. He should be gone.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I just felt that.
Oh no, he dang, my friend over here. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I gotta get my friend. Hold on. This is, let me get it real quick. BJ Wright, sir.
Oh yeah, yes.
You know what time it is. Here, get in there. Get in there. For sure.
This message is brought to you by.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
I need to brand that. I need to brand this. I need to brand some trash cans, Drew. We need to talk about that. That's a business plan.
Yes, a trash can transition, 5 seconds or less.
Oh man, I just saw a comment, Drew. I gotta acknowledge this. My mom is in the chat. So what's going on, Mom?
With the wave. That's what I'm talking about. We get some wave action. And your other half is here as well.
Yeah, what's going on, lady?
Laughing emoji because you see the trash can. That's the idea. You know what? 10 seconds or less, trash can transition. We need it to click on.
Telling you, we got to create that.
Hey, if any content creators are out there and you got time, we're gonna be on here for a minute. You can email your ideas to SIRTOBAmedia@gmail.com. We might click on it during the show.
Hey. Put them out there. Send them emails. Trash, absolutely.
And definitely, what's up? We greatly appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, we're about to have a good time. So, speaking of a good time, one that has not been a very good time, definitely about LA Knight. They missed the mark with LA Knight for sure.
And one more, because it's still within the realm of where we're at before we go to the next
Yep.
match, is it would be funny if Gunther wins. And I'm not going to lie, but it should be Jay, honestly. Jay not going to get another chance like this in terms of peaking. Because, I mean, we are on the grandest stage, and that's a great point along with what we were saying. So, hey, what do you feel about this? I mean,
I think it's spot on. Like I think he's going to be popular regardless because the word yeet is popular. So, like, and actually, what's crazy about that word? Yeet has been out for so freaking long.
But it wasn't dictionized, though. It wasn't dictionized. I don't even know if that's a word, but dictionized until recently for the dictionary. Yes, it was recently dictionized by Jay Uso.
Exactly. Like, yeet has been out for so long. And just like my brother said in the comments, it's a dance. Yeah, it's been out for ages now, right? It's been out, but it's just one of those things that just got popular all of a sudden. So I feel like people are still going to affiliate with him, but at this momentum that he is at, you got to strike the iron while it's hot. You got to.
Yep. And your mom says she loves the trash. Drop the dead weight.
Yeah, for sure. BJ Ray is definitely dead weight.
Yes. And I'm interested to see how that goes this upcoming weekend when it comes to that show and in that character, because at the same time, Dude Man on the other side, Cutler is his name. Yeah, he lost his cool in the moment too and walked out in the match. So there's multiple angles you can go about that. I just feel like BJ Ray's selfishness and his inability to be a team player kind of supersedes all that. That dude's got to go. It's just bad toxic energy.
Yeah, man, you got to cut the cancer. But you got to get him out of there. So
speaking of cancers and cancer situations, we got another one to talk about.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
What are your thoughts?
When we think about this match that we're about to get into, Drew, we got to proceed with caution. All right. This is probably the most emotionally driven match of the weekend. We have Jade Cargill versus who used to be the queen of the glow, Naomi. And this match has been building for the last few months. I believe you and I have talked about before that we had the thought process of we knew it was Naomi that did this out of jealousy. It was finally confirmed during the Elimination Chamber a couple months ago where Naomi got sent to the gulags for free. So this match will be filled with emotion. It will be filled with hatred, etc. But let's see what we are thinking. What are we thinking? What are your thoughts on this?
This is I don't really want to be disrespectful and say it's a throwaway match, but am I the only one that kind of feels like this is in place of something else that really should be there? I mean, I'm sorry, but looking at the way Naomi's been booked, right? I just don't feel like the way that they threw this storyline together, and even though Jade did take a substantial amount of time away from the screen, I just feel like this is in place of something else. And for that, I don't know what it's in place of. I just have had this feeling ever since this whole feud was started a couple months ago. Once Jade came back, and the injury that she had sustained, and it was just obvious that it was Naomi throughout this whole thing, because we were talking about it, you and I were, before it was even being talked about with the public. It wasn't the Judgment Day to get the tag team championships, the women's tag team championships. It wasn't anybody else, because there was no top championship on the line. Like, Jade had a chance, even though she had to forfeit the world tag team championships as a result of being hurt, this wasn't like it was for a world heavyweight championship, women's, WWE women's title or anything like that. I just feel like that the way it was kind of thrown together, it was in place of maybe somebody who was supposed to be returning and wasn't healthy enough to be on the card situation. We do have the whole Kevin Owens sitting out, and for a topic that we're going to talk about later on with another particular wrestler, as it's affected by that. But when it comes to this, of course, Jade's going to win this. This is like a squash match for her. Naomi's not winning this match. She has been, the way that they have set her up as the heelish character and looking like it's going to be shifting more towards Bianca was involved in it some way, somehow. I feel like that's going to come about, and that can affect another match that we have to talk about later too, because that's on night 2. And if Naomi, who looked like she had some things to say recently on one of the recent programs, by talking to Bianca and trying to say, hey, there's a little bit more to this story that I don't want to bring the baggage out. And hey, exactly what I'm talking about, which you can, reply to that here in a second. But with all that being said, I just feel like this is a squash match for Jade, but at the same time, it's not the end of the story, because I feel like she's going to affect another match we're going to talk about later on.
Mr. Willingham.
Uh-oh.
I'm so disappointed, Mr. Willingham, in your response to this. Because, Naomi does not get the respect she deserves.
Yeah, you're right.
And the thing with Naomi, rightfully so, has said that she has created a path for a lot of the women that are in WWE right now.
What?
Think about the women that is in the WWE right now.
What?
The athleticism.
What?
Being able to do things that the men can do.
What?
And then now we sit here and we think about, what in the world would we be? Where there be the Sol Rukas, the Kalani Jordans, those women down in NXT that is the best women's roster in wrestling right now. And I will put my checks for the entire year up on that. That's the best roster. But would they be here without Naomi? Because what athletic women's wrestler can you think of before Naomi that could do what Naomi does?
That can do? I mean, are you talking about just the dance moves and the glow and the entrances and that? Like, I mean, are you talking about that? Because no, nobody else really does it like that except for Mustafa Ali when he was there. That was the closest I could compare the entrance with the light up stuff. Yeah, you wanna talk about comparison? That's the closest I do with that. But there are plenty of athletic female superstars within WWE, Korrey. You know it, and I know it. Now, it's not Chelsea Green. Like, she's there for her looks and is kind of like the John Cena of female wrestlers, okay? All right, it's except for minus the whole accolades, a 16-time champion. But look at the fact that she has a United States championship right now. But for what reason? Why? Because she's got the looks and they can market her well. All right, but she's wrestling. I feel like on a little bit of a lower scale than like what Carmella was when she was being pushed at one point. So we can have that discussion for that. But for Naomi, I stand corrected on the fact of I didn't fully give her the respect that she deserved in the moment. This is not like Michael Penix or Kirk Cousins, all right, where you kind of need to acknowledge me a little bit. But hey.
I will not be patronized, sir. I will not.
I'm gonna reel it back in and accept fault. I feel like we are close to Easter Sunday. We are close to religious days for everyone to, we have to, when we're wrong, we have to accept it. Others sat on. You want to get religious about this, we can, but we're not going to. It's a wrestling show. But hey, we have to just at least accept when we're wrong. And I'm accepting when I was wrong on the fact that I didn't give enough respect to Naomi, just like you didn't give enough respect to Michael Penix Jr. But here we are, right here now. See, you faced it. We're good. We don't need to beat a dead horse, but we have at least acknowledged it. But with Jade Cargill, I know that you're giving Naomi her flowers, but you really think, based on as pissed off as Jade has been in these promos and the way things have gone throughout the storyline, do you really think Naomi's going to just easily walk in there with this clout that she's great glow, looks great in her outfits, and going to come out there and just, that's how she's going to win the match and give her, what is that thing where I forget what it's called, but it's been a while since I've seen it, but she like literally, it's not like the Rikishi booty to the face, but she like smacks you in the face with her booty. It's some type of some
the
type of
rear
move she
view?
has. Yes, but it's not like it's not like what the the usual Samoa move of the turnbuckle, it's not like that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Unless she does the triple crossroads of what Cody normally does as a closer for a match and does the triple B to the face, I don't see her winning this match with Jade Cargill because the storms are coming and they are going to push Jade to women's championship potential and in the main event. You have to with what you've invested in her, and you have to for the marketability that Jade brings to her position.
There's one thing that you said that makes me just absolutely know that she's going to win this match.
What's up?
And the thing is that Jade's frustration. Jade said in her promo recently that she's not a rookie anymore and she's Naomi's biggest threat, which is absolutely true. She is Naomi's biggest threat, but she forgets Naomi is a 10+ year veteran in this game. Okay. Longer than Jade Cargill has been wrestling, longer than she's been thinking about wrestling. And to the comment that I made initially, Naomi was the first one to show athleticism, the splits, the jump, the flips off the top rope, as far as not like the traditional stuff, like, the moonsaults and the things that we've been seeing over the years. Those are kind of the basic things. I mean, the split-legged moonsaults and things like that, things that you hadn't seen really women do in the past until recently with a lot of the newer women that you see in WWE, because they're getting a lot more from the sports realm that has gymnastics backgrounds and all that stuff like that, that's able to do some pretty cool stuff. So she's the first one that comes to my mind. She had that short TNA run where she became TNA Knockouts champion. She was at the top of that division, having great matches with Jordan Grace, Masha Slamovic, a bunch of others. And now she's back in this WWE realm, and they kind of they brought her back at Royal Rumble, but then they really haven't done anything with her since. She's just kind of been floating. She's been part of that big three, when really the big three, she should be saying it's big me. And that is the reason why I feel like she is going to win this match against Jade Cargill. Her experience, her ability to get under Jade's skin is what's going to cost Jade in the end. She keeps saying proceed with caution for a reason. It's not just a catch line or a catchphrase. It's something that she is pre-warning Jade about. She's going to take advantage. Jade is going to make a mistake. And let's address this too. We sat here and we talked about Jay Uso in the last segment, about him and his 3 moves of doom. Let's talk about Jade Cargill and her 2.5 moves of doom. Because if she took all that time off, and as you eloquently stated, she had a bunch of investment into her, right? A bunch of investment into her from WWE. They did not put her out right away. They showed her off, but then was like, no, come here. You're going to keep training, right? If she doesn't come out here and have a solid match, Naomi going to run her. Point blank, period. She is going to run her, and she's going to ruin that story if she does not show up and have a great match. But with all that being said, I do feel like Naomi's going to capitalize on something with Jade and win this match.
Okay. So we're at a split for this one. So we both like Jey Uso winning the first one, but we're both split here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're gonna settle with that. When it comes to that, I mean, we both bring up some compelling arguments for it. We'll have to see what people say here in the comments before we get too far. As looks like Thaddeus says he's looking forward to the Naomi versus Jay match. And that Rey Mysterio versus Grande is a throwaway match. We can talk more about that here in a little bit. Yeah, that's as close to a throwaway match as we can get. But I just feel like Jade versus Bianca would have been better for WrestleMania than Jade versus Naomi. But Bianca's in the championship match. So
Preach, brother.
Yeah. And, if you really feel this way about Naomi, then they should have just swapped places, and Naomi should be in this triple threat match that obviously Bianca's not going to win anyway. So, you might as well just if that's just my opinion on it.
That's the issue. If there's any issue with Naomi, it's that she doesn't have the aura of a Jade or a Bianca. That's an issue for sure.
Preach, brother. If Thaddeus says fair enough with our thoughts here on this one.
All right, so we're going to be fair and take a short commercial break here, and then we'll be right back with the next few segments here on the Grind Live for WrestleMania 41.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition, dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
In a world where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams, whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening,
this Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
exclusively on SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy, and now begins a future one of matrimony, or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another beating a dead horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network proudly presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson, live every weekday morning beginning April 29th at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Oh yes, the tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. If you want your commanders to be rep right, well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report, every Tuesday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, 12:05 a.m. Central, on the SIRTOBA Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where's my soldiers? Right side. Commanders. Where's my soldiers? Left side.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Welcome back, everybody, to this special edition of episode 26 of The Grind, WrestleMania 41 Thoughts and Predictions, with my brother, the brainchild of SIRTOBA Media, Mr. Drew Willingham here. And Drew, I think we had a few comments come up while we went to break there.
Okay. Definitely should have been Jade and Bianca.
Ooh.
Yes. She agrees with me there, yeah. Jade and Bianca. I've always been a Naomi fan. I'd hope she wins, but that Jade is no joke. It's really not. Whoop that expletive. That's what's happening. She is going. I gotta watch what I say. I will tell you off the air, but you will just remember minute 39 and what I couldn't say regarding this match.
Gotcha.
And I will tell you. Yes, and thank you for all the comments and keep it coming, because we feel that way. Keep it coming for real, no matter what you're watching this on, whether it's those of you watching on X, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch right now. It's been over 50 of you consistently watching this. This has been nice as we have been live. Great time. Saturday is a good time for wrestling. So,
yes, sir. It's always a great time, especially when it's WrestleMania season. But something that will not be a great time, I think we all can agree with this here, is this throwaway, take a bathroom break, go outside, smoke a cigarette match between El Grande Americano and the Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. Sir, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm in the Stephen A mode on this. We don't care. I'm just going to tell y'all that we don't care. This match has no business being on this card. Absolutely not. And if you watched episode 25 of The Grind, you saw where I just absolutely had a moment where I just kind of went off track, because there is no reason why the Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, who is killing it on SmackDown right now, shouldn't be on this card. Take a break on this match. I don't care who wins this match. I feel like it's going to be Rey Mysterio, so they can go ahead and drop the El Grande Americano, but he did get hurt last night. Rey Mysterio did get hurt. He got carried out last night. So that could, play a factor into how this match goes if this match takes place. So we'll go off what we know for now. And what we know is this match is taking place. It has no business being on this card. And I would highly encourage you to get something to eat, take a break, smoke a cigarette, have a shot, whatever it is. All right, Mr. Willingham.
I mean, this match might drive you to smoke a cigarette even if you haven't in several years. I mean, this is, as a former cigarette smoker myself, I might have to just pause when this thing comes on and just fast forward, 20 minutes later when the match is over and get into the next match, because that's the beauty of being able to watch it on demand on Peacock. That's the difference nowadays to watching, if you were to get it on pay-per-view, like those of us old school wrestling fans, having the ability to watch it in the, 20 years ago, having to pay for it on demand. It was a different ball game back then. Everything's changed so much. So, the instant gratification, of abilities are a whole lot better nowadays when it comes to the consumption of content, and especially when it comes to this weekend. So definitely use the restroom during this time. Go grab some fast food if you want. This is the time you can take 20 minutes away, pause it, come on back, and not feel bad about looking at your phone because of any notifications that come in, because it's not like you're doing that during the main event and then a notification pops up on who won the main event. You're going to be watching that. So this is the time to step away. I honestly really don't care who wins this match either, but it could be a show stealer, though, Korrey.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no.
I just want an excuse to click that button. That is not happening. You know it, and I know it. There is no way that is going to happen out there. And if that truly was to happen there, Korrey, then it would totally do this to not only yourself, but me. That's not happening.
I will tell you what, Drew. It will really, I will really feel that way if it goes longer than 10 minutes. If it's 20 minutes. No, do not drag us through the mud on this. Do not. Let's get in. Matter of fact, let somebody get attacked before the match start and just forget it. Like, just chalk this up. You remember last year, everybody was so upset about Jimmy versus Jay and how much time they got because they didn't have enough time. This is one of those matches where that needs to take place. 2 minutes. You only got 30 seconds for each of your interests. Matter of fact, when the commercial is on, your video package is playing, do your interests is then and be in the ring. And then when we come back live, 2 moves, you're done. Get out of here.
Done. Get him on out.
Yeah, we're going
to shift a little bit. But with that one, when you look at El Grande Americano, you know exactly who it is. You know exactly who it is.
It's Chad Gable. I mean, come on now. Like, are we really doing this?
One person I was talking to yesterday absolutely was still on the fence that it could be someone else.
Don't tell me they're in the comments. They can't be in the comments. Please don't be in the comments.
What?
No. Don't show up here. You need to move on.
But I think that person's going to have a hard time.
You can't handle the truth.
The truth can't set them free, Drew.
No, It cannot, not on this holiday weekend. It sure as expletive can't. But yes, neither you, neither me really give a true expletive about this match.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in the running and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
All right, so moving into a match that we truly have some stock in is this story building up to this point of the United States Championship. L.A. Knight, defends his United States championship against the Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu. All right, Mr. Willingham, who do you have in this match?
I feel like with the build with Jacob Fatu and, everything that we've seen since his debut last year, you'd really be dropping the boat if you don't put the championship on him at this time. It's very similar to the situation with another Fatu who just happens to use a different name within the wrestling realm, and that is Jey Uso. He's another Fatu. They're just cousins. But when it comes to this, I feel like you have to put it on this cousin because of him coming in here, steamrolling the competition. It's the United States Championship, and if you're going to talk about him potentially being in the main event scene, this is the year where we got to see how he can do with the mid-card championship, just like what we've seen with Braun Breaker, just like what we've seen with Jey Uso before him, Sami Zayn with the Intercontinental Championship, and then putting him at least in the conversation to have the matches with Roman to build him up, and the others that came before all these wrestlers and talent before. So I feel like you have to put the championship on Jacob at this time. You've had, LA Knight with a couple reigns with this championship now. He's proven that he could be a player within the main event scene too, as someone that could, be a potential matchup for whether Cody wins against Cena win. Well, no, we already know how that's going to go. But, whether Cody wins or whoever wins the Gunther Jey Uso match, LA Knight can contend for the main championship now. He's got that clout built up, but you still need to do that with Jacob. I feel like this is his time to carry the United States Championship for a duration throughout 2025 and prove that you can trust him as a singles competitor.
Definitely. Before I get into it, I got to show Jacob some love because a lot of people ain't watch him until he got to WWE. So I can't say solo, but I'll say I love SIRTOBA. And then you got to hit the dance. So
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
That was the unedited one, my bad. Well, if Fox can have one cuss word per show, we can have one too. That's our one and only click of that one.
It's all good. We can have one. It's fine. But I mean, when you got the shape like you Jacob Fatu, who isn't gonna want to see you become United States champion? Clearly, I think they're going to use the title to build a storyline between Jacob and Solo that's been going on. I think the majority of the year it's going to be the jealousy. Solo could not as the faux tribal chief, the Timu tribal chief, the Wayfair is just what I need tribal chief, known as Solo Sikoa is going to be jealous of the fact that Jacob gets it done. He's going to bring a title back to the family. And he's going to be trying to convince the others of like, hey, like, we got to turn on this guy. Like, he think he's better than us, blah, 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 blah. And it's going to turn into a more of a bloodline storyline again, to the point of what Roman and Paul Heyman's been talking about the last, 3 or 4 years, about this is just the beginning. It's not just about Roman. It's about the entirety of their bloodline. And as you can see, they are like main players in at least 3 or 4 stories going on right now. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens when some others eventually debut on NXT. But this whole thing with Jacob, I think he's deserved it. I think he's earned it. He's shown that he's safe in the ring. He can absolutely positively go. When he said all gas, no brakes, it's true. And that last man standing match he had with Braun Strowman was absolutely spectacular a couple of weeks ago. So I think I agree with you. It's Jacob Fatu's time. LA Knight needs to move on into more of the main event scene, and they have got to get better with using LA Knight. in that main event scene and not just have him kind of be like that transitional champion per se. So Jacob Fatu for the win in this match. No interference.
So we both agree that Jacob Fatu wins this match. And LA Knight transitions on out to something else.
Just like we're going to transition out onto something else here too.
Yeah.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
So the what can I say? The fire starter as to why I was kind of going off in the last episode of The Grind was this tag team match. They decided to throw on this card besides the one on the SmackDown that kind of really ticked me off. So we have the War Raiders, the World Tag Team Champions on Raw versus the New Day in Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. I'll be real with you. I don't care. Again, like I don't care. This match seemed like, or this card per se, excuse me, this WrestleMania card seems like maybe about 4, maybe 5 matches were penciled in, and the rest of them, the last 8, 9, 10 of them was just thrown together. And I don't feel like this story is good enough to be on a WrestleMania card. It's the same thing we talked about with Hell in a Cell. I'm glad they changed the format of that and just take away that pay-per-view. We don't need it, or that premium live event. We don't need it. Get it up out of here. You know, make it something special that is the culmination of a feud. This right here just isn't it for me. And I'll be real with you. I'm going to be short here. New Day will be the new World Tag Team Champions once this match is over. I'm done.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you when it comes to not really giving an expletive about this one, because this is the wrong tag team championship match to have on the WrestleMania card. I cannot disagree with what you said, especially with what we saw last night on SmackDown. It just deserved to be on a higher stage, and it wasn't on a high enough stage. And I don't think that it's going to live up to that type of match that we even saw on SmackDown last night with this, because the War Raiders, you know, that yes, they're trying to bring what we saw in them in NXT and before, you know, to light, but it's just not quite working. I'm just not quite feeling this New Day heel turn at this stage, the way that it has been kind of thrusted together in a short period of time right before WrestleMania, just to be thrown on a card. There wasn't enough hype. What is going on with the Wyatt family? Like, you know, with what we saw, how they debuted last year, I feel like they deserve a spot on WrestleMania before this match. And, you know, they were supposed to be, a big part of this whole shift to Netflix with the abilities of what we saw with that, you know, that backstage segment with Chad Gable, you know, looking like he was, you know, deceased, you know, just the nicest way I could put it. And, you know, there was less of a build from that. And we were so excited about that. We should be seeing the Wyatts in some type of way in this spot on the card, is my opinion. This is, you know, in comparison to, if you're not going to have the other match on here as far as the tag team championship match, then this is very similar to the El Grande Americano Rey Mysterio throwaway match in this point. So we're now in night 1, and this is the 5th match we're talking about out of 7 for night 1. And this is the second, potentially the 3rd throwaway match, in my opinion, at this point through 5. It's kind of looking a little bleak in night 1 at this point there, my man. What do you think?
I mean, it's definitely to the point of that you made earlier. Like we talked about, excuse me, Triple H going to the Hall of Fame last night, and one of his comments was like, you know, he's not a perfect booker or whatnot, you know. And I mean, by all means, like, we're not sitting here saying like it's the same thing we witnessed from those, you know, 2009, 2010 year up to, you know, the last 2 or 3 years. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that at some point we can overbook, aka overthink ourselves out of what is common sense. It's sitting there. He said it himself, and I want to say it was on the Pat McAfee show, but I do not remember specifically where it came from, where he said, oh, somebody brought up the fact that why isn't the women's championship matches at either one of the main event spots for night 1 or night 2? And one of the things that he said was that, okay, it's enough for us to have a writer, build it, give you basically what you need to execute the play, but how you execute the play is up to you. If you want it to be in the main event scene, you got to make it that important to the fans and to the ability of the company in order for, it to be at a main event spot, and that's the same thing I feel about here. Like, we're just throwing filler matches in when we could be having possible matches that is, oh my God, you made me think of something. The other day I talked about, you remember that TLC match and the second match of Edge's career, second match is Edge's career, second WrestleMania match, second WrestleMania match, can't get it out, in Edge's career, when it was him and Christian versus the Dudleys versus the Hardys. You could have had this same situation bounce off again with the Profits, DIY, and Motor City Machine Guns. TLC match. You could have had the same thing. Yeah, you're on mute, man. So,
oh, my bad. The match they've scheduled for next Friday.
So it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, that match has no business being on a regular. That match has no business being on a regular Friday Night SmackDown. I don't want to rant because I'll be here all day talking about how ticked off I am. See, I almost dropped it. You almost had a second curse word there. I'm ticked off about that situation because that's just common sense. That's a layup if I've ever seen one.
It's just, like you said last night, you can't have perfect booking, but maybe injuries or, there's certain things that go on behind the scenes that we don't see on TV. Like, maybe the players in the said matches are on some type of health restriction with their doctor as far as they can only go a certain amount of duration in a match. We don't know that for sure, but we've heard of this stuff in the past where they're kind of on a limited match, the limited duration of time they can be in the ring. So if, like, say you got one of the competitors that can only really be active in the ring for like 10 minutes at a time due to an ongoing situation, then it kind of puts stipulations on a match to where you don't really want to have that type of stipulation on a match on a premium live event that nowadays there's not as much time restrictions on, and it could affect whatever the storyline is that you have going on at that time. And there could be some things that are kind of bleak within the storyline that, even though talent-wise as a wrestling match, the fan might like it better, but based on the storytelling of what they've had going on for the past few months, it might make more sense to them to have the New Day, who recently turned heel, on there, as opposed to the Motor City Machine Guns, who, yes, they are a hot tag team of, some veteran wrestlers who took a while to get to WWE, kind of like AJ Styles and others before them, as players on the main screen, as I should say. And, they don't have the type of hype that the New Day have had. So maybe Trips believe that the New Day and the War Raiders, who have been there for a while, deserve to be on the WrestleMania card and get that little bit of substantial pay bump than a team like the Motor City Machine Guns, who just recently joined not too long ago. I mean, they haven't even been there 6 months.
I mean,
but yes, they are a hot team right now. Yes.
But the thing is, though, is that people are paying thousands of dollars to fly across the country to go to WrestleMania. Did you see the price of those tickets, brother? Did you see them? It is.
I mean, we can't really afford to take, let alone ourselves solo, let alone individuals like you have family members that would want to go. It's not affordable.
It's absolutely ridiculous how those prices are, right? So you're telling me that I'm going to pay for a plane? I'm going to pay for somewhere to stay? They're going to book the prices up for the places to stay because WWE's in the area. And I'm going to pay probably at minimum, even by myself, $2,000 for a ticket. If I want to have a decent view, right? Because, I mean, those tickets go all the way up to what, like $20-something thousand, depending on where you're at?
Yes.
I mean, it's absolutely asinine to have trash on a show. I don't care. It's one of those things where, like, one throwaway match, totally get it. One per night, all right, cool. You give me a chance to go grab a concession and come on back. Use the restroom, come on back. Got no problem with it. But we just went through 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 5th match. And we could say probably 3 out of the 5 are throwaways, depending on how it goes. That is a problem.
Very much so. That's why Saturday, and we'll get into that soon enough, but whether it's Saturday or these last 2 matches that we have that we'll talk about, soon enough, even though, I put them where I did, with this because of the fact that the rest, we had to get the expletives out the way, if you know what I'm saying. Like, we had to, yes, for the excitement for ourselves within the preview of this. We're on the same page. You know exactly what I'm throwing down.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. So let's see what's throwing down in the comments before we move forward. Do we have anything new?
Why is Rey Mysterio still wrestling?
I'll be honest with you, Mom. I have no idea. Maybe he took part in some communion that had some type of, holy blood in it or whatever. I have no idea. No idea.
That one we missed from earlier. And we got Constipated in Sin City is one that I have not seen out here in a minute. So thank you for tuning in for the first time in quite some time here on the SIRTOBA Media YouTube channel. And he says, hey, Drew Dog, WrestleMania is starting to get underway. I would have to put you up, and I'm kicking it with Sabu since getting out of the hospital. Okay, so you're kicking it with Sabu, watching WrestleMania over there. Yes, because apparently CISC is over there within the realm of where WrestleMania is right now, because Sin City is where you go and you don't bring it back with you unless you were a little too bad over there, if you know what I'm saying. So, CISC. You like what I did there? Mine's on mines. But yes. Even Thaddeus is laughing out here. Andrew Bob, we have been throwing some dimes out here, but so far, that is what we have up to date in the comments. But just like, the Grind is out here, thank you for all the comments, as we thank you all both as well. And keep it coming, because we still have quite a bit of matches. We've gone through 5 matches so far, but there's still a potential of 9 more that we have, Korrey.
All right, so before we move on into those next matches, we have another short break for you all. Stay tuned right here on The Grind, episode 26.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in the running and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Hey, what's good, everybody? This your boy Korrey, host of The Grind, where we talk about all things WWE. You can catch The Grind every single Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on SIRTOBA Media. If you're not following SIRTOBA Media, then what are you doing? Like, share, subscribe. There are many different things that we have available on SIRTOBA Media for your viewing pleasure. And what else you got to do on a Saturday afternoon? Come spend some time with me. Come spend some time with my colleagues on this platform. Help us be able to bring everything that you all want to see. Matter of fact, you know what? If you ain't did it yet, I got something for you. Stay true to what you do. Stay true to why you do. And always stay true to you.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie Bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. Hey, $sign DWillie87. Go ahead and hit him up on the Cash App and go ahead and give him some Willie Bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie Bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. Some Willie Bucks.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text, delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central on the SIRTOBA Media and the Komrey Media YouTube channels.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
All right, welcome back to episode 26 of The Grind, where we are talking about all things WrestleMania 41. It's not just me, it's my brother Drew Willingham here, and we're here to talk about what we think about tonight's card and tomorrow night's card.
Oh, yeah.
And continuing on with tonight's card, we're going to get into something that is a bit messy. Kind of messy. You know, I hear a lot of the younger folks say, what's the T? We trying to figure out what's the T on this match. No point intended. We're talking about the women's WWE Championship match with champion Tiffany Stratton defending against the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Mr. Willingham, what's your thoughts on this match, sir?
You know, looking at this for what it is, you know, Tiffany Stratton has been getting built up here for quite some time, and deservingly so. I mean, she's got the skill sets, you know, to be within the top, you know, class of the women's competitors on the main shows. So I do like this. You know, Charlotte Flair coming back. You know, she's like the standard for women's wrestling, right? You know, of course, throughout the past decades, and she's evolved in the game of women's wrestling. So this is a really good match. I do like this in comparison to the throwaways we were just talking about a little while ago. I do like this, you know, for what Charlotte's put in for the game. You know, we talked about Michelle McCool last night for the Hall of Fame for what she's meant to women's wrestling. And, you know, at some point when they induct Charlotte Flair and they're the daughter of a legend who it was a lot to live up to for Ric Flair as a you know, Hall of Fame father, and what, you know, he has done for this sport, as we should say nowadays, in sports entertainment for professional wrestling. You know, she's definitely been that and part of the women's evolution. You can't talk about professional wrestling and women without Charlotte Flair now. You just can't. 10 years ago, of course, she was just getting really started into it coming out of NXT. But now, like, in 2025, you talk about her, you talk about Becky Lynch, the whole four horsewomen, Bayley, you know, of course, Sasha Banks on a lower scale with you know, where they're rolling out, but the main ones that are still there, they're still a huge part of the women's, you know, department in professional wrestling for WWE. So this is a huge match for her to really elevate Tiffany even higher than where she's at, and I feel like she's going to do that. And you know, part of me wants to say Charlotte's going to win this match, but I feel like, you know, Tiffany Stratton needs to be elevated a little bit more, and this is where you do it. She's got to win this match somehow, and Charlotte has got to be someone that's not like a John Cena of female wrestlers that comes in and wins all these big matches all the time. You have to elevate the talent, the younger talent, and I feel like that's going to happen now. Tiffany's going to win this match.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of tussled back and forth with this because the story didn't captivate me too much until they had their spat on live TV that was not supposed to happen. And, you know, I just feel like Tiffany did what she had to do in that, you know, verbal back and forth in the ring where she brought up the 0-3 with Charlotte Flair in real life. That was, you want to talk about a low blow. Kicked in the sack and then ran out. But when you think about like this match, I agree with you. Athletically, like they should be pretty even. When you think about it, Tiffany has a gymnastics background. Charlotte Flair is clearly the best Flair wrestler in the family. There is no arguments about that. Even Rick came out and said that she was better than him. I don't know if he was saying that to kind of, you know, because that's his daughter, but you know, it's true. She is the better wrestler out of them two. She's a 14-time women's champion, and she's 4-3 at WrestleMania. And like I kind of feel as if, yes, it is time to continue to rub the younger generation, especially how the NXT women is cooking, especially with how they're cooking. So you got to continue to evolutionize the younger generation. I think that's something that they need to kind of focus on with the men's side as well. The men's is kind of like, they're not terrible, but there is a great distance in between lower card, mid card, and main event. It's a greater distance. They've done a better job with the women and who they selected in the development of them, their characters, their in-ring work, etc., to kind of keep the gap pretty close, especially with the 4 horsewomen still being there. Well, 3 of the 4. But when it comes to this match, I just got a feeling, Drew, they're going to give it to Charlotte. I just got a feeling. She gave Rhea Ripley the rub. I think it's going to be like very similar. So you remember when she won the Royal Rumble the first time, and then she challenged Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship, beat her for that during the COVID era. And then a few years later, Rhea Ripley basically got her get back when she was a bigger star.
Yes.
I don't think they would have had to do it this way if they would have left Tiffany being a heel. They turned her into a face because of how the crowd reacted to her. And here's the thing that Triple H has been preaching about since he took over, is that we don't want to play with the intelligence of the fans. We don't want to play with their minds or whatever like that. And one of the things that I love that they've been doing lately is that they haven't been categorizing people as face or heel. They've been saying, you know what? Okay, Cody, for instance, he went into full crash out mode on Kevin Owens. Full crash out mode on Kevin Owens in that last match they had, where Kevin Owens was folded like a taco on Taco Tuesday up the street at your local Taco Bell. Like, like he went into full crash out mode. But think about an everyday human. You and I have those moments where we're just like, you know what? I'm 2 seconds from sending you to the gulags, bro. Like, in our day-to-day work and things of that nature. So I feel like it's more humane and it brings more of a human aspect to it. But with Tiffany, they did her dirty by making her be a face. I think that's where she struggled. The promos, she struggled dealing with Charlotte because of that. She struggled with her presence. She struggled as champion since they changed her perspective. And I don't think you have to have a baby face versus a heel all the time. And one of the matches that we're going to talk about later, I'll talk about why that is important in that aspect. But in this aspect, I think they did Tiffany dirty on this one. I think it'll be a great match. But I do feel as if Charlotte is going to get that 15th World Championship.
It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. So we're split on this one, with another one yet again. At the same time, it's hard for me to disagree with what you said because you bring up some great points. So I'm not mad at it. I won't be surprised if it happens.
Well, we get swerved all the time lately. So let's see what happens.
And we have your mom agreeing with you, Charlotte, of course.
Yeah, I wish it was Tiffy time, but Tiffy should have stayed as Tiffy from NXT to keep her in the space she needed to be in.
CISC says, Sabu lives in Las Vegas like I do. It's been difficult. I used to pull 60-minute runways. Since trying to get back in the ring, I can barely do 15 minutes in a tag team. Okay. Says, I tell you, one of the hottest chicks to ever grace the ring was Dawn Marie, Trish Stratus, and Liv Morgan. That's his top 3.
Yeah, my wife is here. We're not doing that.
I'm not married, and I can say that I like your top 3. So, I'm not speaking for Korrey. I'm speaking for myself. So that way he is not in trouble. And CISC says, let me tell you something that's not being talked about. Ric Flair was a product of Georgia Tan's adoption conspiracy. He was stolen from his real parents and sold to the Dr. Flairs.
What? What?
Are we sure about this 100%, or do we need to get Bishop up here?
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, no, to the no, no.
This even warrants this yet again.
Got me up.
And brother, let's get back on track because we have wrestling to talk about today. And doesn't care to meet his biological parents. Yes, very true. Yes, you all have watched the 30 for 30 on Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
And we did too. We appreciate you right here and now.
Yeah, man. So let's appreciate all the agony that we've been through with some of these matches and move on to the main event.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in the running and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
My bad. I
And
might
move
click it too
on
soon.
to the main event of night one. Seth freaking Rollins versus the what is it, Second City Saint, the voice of the voiceless CM Punk versus the tribal chief, the OTC, Roman Reigns. So this match has a lot of history behind it. 12 years of history behind it. Drew, I'm really excited to hear what your thoughts is on this match, sir. So what are they? I want to sit back and listen.
So with this match right here, it's been, for what it is, I feel like it's been kind of thrusted together pretty quick, for what we have, because Roman's not, there every week. Seth is the workhorse of the three. We see him more consistently on TV, especially with what he did as the world heavyweight champion for quite some time before relinquishing that. Well, he didn't relinquish it, but through his reign. And you look at what Roman's done up until last year. WrestleMania was a big part of WWE and helping it through the pandemic era, and what he's done with the bloodline. Of course, I'm rocking the shirt of, part of his bloodline right here. And then you think of, what CM Punk has meant to wrestling up until 2014, the way that everything, that storyline with Seth Rollins has been meaningful. But this has all been kind of thrusted together because CM Punk and Seth Rollins on this stage for a championship would mean more than the three of them together, or Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for a championship would mean more, or, or vice versa. Not in this triple threat match thrusted together, Paul Heyman used as a catalytic player within this. It's kind of just feels thrown together to me a little bit. And especially the way that it's set up as the main event, because we are literally, this is the 7th match of tonight for night one. So right here and now, we are at literally the main event for what we're about to see here. This kicks off here in a little bit. With that being said, with this main event, I feel like if you're going to build a story between Paul Heyman, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns for quite some time, something has to happen that's pretty big in this match that happens to the two of them. And that is going to be Seth Rollins winning this match and beating them in order to put some type of more of a, I would say, more of, you'd have more heat between the two with both of them losing the WrestleMania match. And it's going to have to be the ego of one costing the other in this match against Seth Rollins, and Seth is going to capitalize somehow with some curb stomps and find a way to win on the big stage, because Roman Reigns has been away for quite some time, has some rust. CM Punk and him, the two of them with Paul Heyman in the middle and having that debacle right there, I feel like that in itself, between the two fighting over the wise man, Seth Rollins is going to capitalize somehow and win this match.
I'm glad you brought up the wise man, because he is actually the key to this match. And I actually agree with some of the people online when they say, I think it's going to be where Paul Heyman screws both CM Punk and Roman Reigns and joins the line, or the walks beside Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, let's think about, besides last year, he took a moment to be a part of that main event scene. And, he was a very huge player in the main event of WrestleMania last year. But Drew, let's really think about when Seth Rollins was like super important.
Okay.
Like, the top guy. Like, I don't remember the last time where I just couldn't see nobody else but Seth, if that makes sense. Like, he stood out from the rest, and I think it might have been like his first championship run, even though he's been a multiple-time world champion. But I think that him aligning with Paul Heyman or Paul Heyman aligning with him, just to help him win this match, it's him planting the seeds. Again, he is known as the architect. So he is planting the seeds in order to get, for lack of a better term, help to win this match. I agree with you 1000%. The egos of Punk and Reigns with the Paul Heyman aspect of it is going to be the issue. It is going to be the thing that they continue to beat each other up on, and Seth Rollins is going to take full advantage of this. So I think Seth Rollins is going to handle his business. He's going to curve stop them into next week. I think the match itself is going to be fun. Punk, like in the last few matches he's been in, it's kind of crazy. He's been able to finish it, but he looked like he ran out of gas pretty early. We both know that's because of age at this point, but hopefully he's done some things to kind of work out his health so he can last long with these two heavyweights in his ring. Seth Rollins is definitely the workhorse. And he's not on one bum knee this year like he was last year. So he should be able to perform at a very high level. And I mean, Roman is Roman. This generation, they don't get this Netflix deal, all this money for all these new deals and stuff without Roman being who he is. If we never get the tribal chief, WWE might be in trouble right now. So Roman is significant in his own way, and I don't mind him coming here, coming there, whatever like that, because he's an attraction now. He's not just a regular wrestler at this point. But I do agree with you. I think Seth is going to be the one that takes advantage of egos in this match, arguing over Heyman. Heyman's going to basically screw over the both of them, meaning Reigns and Punk. And we're going to see Seth align, or Paul Heyman try to align with Seth Rollins. But I think Seth Rollins is playing everybody in this match.
That's an ultimate shift, because I wasn't even thinking that deep into it when it comes to that being potentially there. But the way you describe that, the seeds have been planted in different ways that this story has gone over the past couple of weeks. In my opinion, this just happened so fast, but maybe it was designed to look that way, and Seth's been thinking about this all along.
I think so. And, when you think about, like, they say the origins of the Shield was created to be the Shield for CM Punk. It was orchestrated by Paul Heyman, which is the weirdest thing, like, ever, how this all kind of just glues together. Seth destroys the Shield, and then it's been this ongoing thing ever since between the three of them on and off. Now, I will tell you the one that kind of bothers me a little bit is the Roman and CM Punk dynamic until recently, with Punk saying that Heyman is going to be his corner for his favor. I was kind of trying to figure out where their story, really came from. Besides, their matches they had, I don't understand the hatred. But between Seth and Punk, I definitely get the hatred with them two. So I definitely agree with your stance on that. It's just, the three of them have history, and it's probably the most, besides Jade and Naomi, it's probably the most storyline driven match of the night, I guess. So we'll see, but I definitely think it's going to be Rollins.
So based on the fact that it's a storyline driven match, do you think that it deserves to be in the main event?
I think it's only on the main event, Drew, just because of the fact that it's the star power in this match. That's it. They have nothing else on night one that can compare to it. Nothing. Last year, it was heavily story driven with the main event scene. And it was built over months at a time with something crazy happening almost every single week. This year, even night two's main event, which we're going to get into, isn't really storyline driven if you think about it. So I'm just trying to think about I really don't see anything else. I mean, I guess Jay and Gunther. I mean, that has happened over the last few months. So you can kind of see where they drop little nuggets here and there to get that one along. But I mean, I don't think they did a good job you know how they say in the storyline where in the English class, they talk about the rising action and then you hit the climax and then the falling action. I don't think they did a great job hitting the climax of the story with that until Gunther was bathed in Jim's blood, which I feel like it was kind of late in the game at that point. But it's just based off of aura, man. That's it. Popularity, aura. That's why they're in the main event spot.
And for that was a great explanation for anybody out there that was wondering, because I just wanted to make sure we got that on out there. Because, hey, there's been a lot of talk about that too, you know, and mainly, you know, sympathy for CM Punk, it, you know, finally healthy enough since his return to even participate in WrestleMania, because you don't know what next year is going to bring. That's what this feels like as far as the way he was thrusted into this spot, not so much the talent aspect. Because if it wasn't for John Cena's retirement tour, you know, you could argue that maybe he would have been the one that would have won the Royal Rumble this
year. Definitely.
Or not the Royal Rumble, but the Elimination Chamber, since they gave the Royal Rumble to Jay. But you know what I'm saying.
But they could have did it vice versa, you know. So you definitely have a great point on that. You know, I feel like they missed an opportunity too, because I'm going to say this and don't look at me like I'm crazy. Reigns and Rollins could have been very similar to Rock and Stone Cold.
Yeah, especially with the build up and the storyline. Yeah.
Oh my God, the history, the storyline, like the popularity of the two, the aura of the two, the evolution of the two. It's a never-ending story. This is something that never ends. You got stabbed in the back, and every time you see that person, it's basically on site, you know? And I think they missed an opportunity here. Like, that match alone being the main event, boy, I'm sitting at attention. This is not a bathroom break. I'm not going nowhere. You know? And they didn't, like you said, they didn't really need Punk into the situation, but definitely just to get him his first main event under his belt. And you know, just because he's healthy this year, he's popular, they're just gonna throw him in there.
Well, this will be interesting to see how things pan out with that match right there, you know, especially being the main event for tonight's night one. We'll definitely be able to, you know, within hours, we'll know, you know, answers to a lot of these matches that all these matches that we've talked about so far, the 7 that we have. And, you know, everyone out here in the comments can feel the same way as we're getting closer towards seeing night one begin. And with CISC saying that, oh yeah, let's keep it to wrestling, you guys. Let's keep it to wrestling. And yeah, let's keep it to wrestling.
All right. Well, we're gonna keep it to wrestling by
well, there is this one.
Here we go.
There is one. I would suggest that you guys come to Las Vegas August 18th through 20th for the Cauliflower Alley Club with the oldest professional wrestling Hall of Fame in the country. They had an event honoring Carlos Colon, the father of Carlito.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
That's something I need to jot down to try to visit next time I go to Sin City.
Yeah, but especially a very special event, August 18th through 20th. Whether we can make it or not, for those of you watching live, CISC is inviting you all out there. You can check this out. August 18th through 20th at the Cauliflower Alley Club. Check it out on Google and make your reservations. Now,
we're going to make our reservations by moving on to night 2. But before we move on to night 2, we're going to reserve the right to take a break here. So we're going to take a break, then we'll move on to night 2 of WrestleMania.
There it is.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it, and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition,
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
In a world where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams, whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening.
this Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
Exclusively on SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy, and now begins a future one of matrimony or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another beating a dead horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network proudly presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson, live every weekday morning beginning April 29th at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. If you want your commanders to be repped right, well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report, every Tuesday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, 12:05 a.m. Central, on the SIRTOBA Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where my soldiers, right side, commanders. Where my soldiers, left side.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Welcome back to the first live episode of The Grind, episode 26, where I and my special guest here, Mr. Drew Willingham, are discussing WrestleMania 41. And we just went through night one's card, but it's time to get over to night two and see what those thoughts are on that. So, first match we're going to have on this card and we're going to discuss is the Women's Tag Team Championship match between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. Drew, why do we like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? Like,
this is another one of those breaks. Get your old drink ready.
I mean, this is
stretch. Go, stretch. Go for a walk. Whatever it is you may need to do. Okay. Storyline wise, within the Judgment Day, for the clout, because that's the only clout they have as champions right now. It's the only champions representing the Judgment Day. In which I kind of want to take this time to acknowledge the fact that it's still wild that the Judgment Day is still a faction that's running pretty strong at this point, considering what it was when Edge and Rhea Ripley and Finn Balor started that thing, many moons ago. And the fact that Edge is now gone from the company, has been in AEW for quite some time under a new name, and this faction is still going, minus Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, of course, who were with, them as well, the four of them. But with everything that this faction has been through to now, is Liv and Raquel is the champions. We've got more matches to talk about on this night, but for this, it's the more underwhelming of the matches for night two, of course. And we have a lot of championship matches thrown between the two nights. And of course, they got some of them wrong. But, there's only one set of women's tag team championships, and they're the ones that are the champions at this time. I just feel like that the team of Bayley and Lyra Valkyria were kind of thrown together last minute as we talk about thrown together matches and competitors. This is a thrown together team. I mean, before the last few weeks, there's no history of these two really doing anything, and there's nothing really promo wise or anything compelling that's entertaining to me that there was anything as far as a competition for them. I feel like this is going to be easily a squash match for Judgment Day, but at the same time, nobody really cares because there's nothing really built up behind it.
You're right. No one cares.
Yeah. I put more care into it with what I said than what we're going to see.
I mean, it's absolutely just, I just want to beat my head against this desk right now. Like, what are we doing? Like, we talk about women's tag teams. There are a few of them out there that are actually tag teams, okay? The Meta Girls, you have Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley on NXT. Like, we did a piss poor job of how we have handled the women's tag team division. It has been terrible. Absolutely terrible. Things thrown together. Like, I mean, the Bianca and Jade thing was pretty cool because it kind of made sense with them being together for a little bit. And we knew Jade needed some more, guidance. So that made some sense, right? But like, actually, homegrown tag teams, tag team names. Like, what tag team has a tag team name?
For the women's division?
For the women's division.
I mean, the only one I've really heard discussed is the half of that was inducted last night. It was half of Lay Cool and Michelle McCool, and they're not even an active T. So besides the team that, even though they're part of a faction in the Judgment Day, it's not like a specific name for their team. Yeah, I see where you're going with it.
Like, there's no effort put behind it.
No, none.
And to your point that you made earlier, you had two people sitting there who would have blown the roof off of WrestleMania if you just let them in. And I don't understand it. You're leaving Bliss off of WrestleMania and then Cross off of Mania that you can put together as a tag team? I don't understand it. Now, that would make sense to say, I'm going to throw y'all in there at the last minute, because they are doing what they're doing right now as a part of Bray's legacy. And then through this entire time, you could have been telling the story of how they have a problem with Bliss and how the last WrestleMania went, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You are about to blow up. Let it loose. Let it loose.
Sister Abigail, Alexa Bliss.
You could have done something beautiful with the women's division at this point. Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, they were already working together at one point. They already had chemistry. Bruh.
It reminds me of the Peter Griffin gif where you just got to grab your knee and be like, ah. Like,
shout out to another great one real quick who just joined us, who has another great wrestling show. Our guy, the playmaker, Darnell Solins out here, who has got some great stories to tell, not only within wrestling, but he also went to the Super Bowl this year. So shout out to him yet again, because it's been a minute since I've seen him, but glad he was able to stop by.
Hey, Darnell, thanks for joining, man. But that whole dynamic, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's the thing is stupid. I'll just plainly say it. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. It's playing with our intelligence. And I'm so tired of them putting lackluster effort into stuff. If you don't have enough people to cover this story, to make the story come alive and be as humane as possible, then what are we doing it for? Leave it off the show. Just leave it off the show. Leave it off. And then whoever wins this match, right, has to defend the titles on Tuesday on NXT. Like, how much of a rub NXT would it would be nice for them to get a rub with Bliss returning and Cross returning to I can't. Liv and Raquel retains. I'm over it.
This, along with the other tag team championships matches we were talking about earlier for the men's, you could argue that the voids we were filling, or they attempted to fill, were with what they should have done creatively for the Wyatts, as that we could have multiple tag team runs within the women's here and the men's somehow within the Raw title or the SmackDown tag team championship somehow. That's where the voids I feel like they have at this point, based on the packages we saw and how they started this out. And how Uncle Howdy, they've dropped the ball within all this. And this is the voids that I'm feeling within this WrestleMania. And I'm glad you and I are on the same page when it comes to this, because this is something that I feel like isn't talked about enough.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's kind of disgusting. Now, what was going through the grapevine was that Uncle Howdy was hurt. Bo Dallas was hurt, and that's why they haven't been on TV. And, of course, he's a pivotal piece of the YS6. But it doesn't mean you couldn't have kept telling the story.
He's worked as a manager before, like he was like a manager style for Bray, when they had that angle. So he could have, done that, and they could have wrote that into the story somehow. They could have been creative to where unless it's something along with his wheels. And if it's something along with a leg, foot, and I get it. If you need to stay off the air and rehabilitate that's a different story. You can't be walking around and doing stuff if it has to do with your wheels and you're running around in a ring. Like I'm empathetic for that. But is there any clarity on what's injured on him?
No, then it was kind of like a secret thing, so it wasn't really talked about. But the problem is that they still could have used. There's still 4 other members of the YS6. If you're talking about Bliss eventually joining too, you still could tell the story because he could be the person doing all the vignettes, all of the talking, etc. It didn't require him to do anything physical, and that is where Bray Wyatt stood out versus the rest of the wrestlers, right? His ability to cut promos, do vignettes, the way he captivated you without even having to wrestle is what made him so special as a person in this system. And I think they dropped the ball with that. They still could have did something with the Wyatts, the Miz, all that stuff like that, like they were doing, or shifted gears because they moved them to SmackDown just randomly. And did something completely different with the Wyatts. Like they just dropped the ball with that altogether, and it sucks.
It does, but maybe they're saving something for Raw after WrestleMania, or who knows? Maybe we might see some type of big impact. But SummerSlam is right around the corner, and they've dropped the ball, and we've seen wrestlers get released and stuff before. Hopefully, just they haven't filled those gaps of where the Wyatts were at before to where they don't feel like they can ride them back in. Because there was a lot of good flashes in the pan within that short period of time that we'd seen them before they kind of just abruptly took them off the air. And then you see Alexa Bliss come back at Royal Rumble, and you start to feel like there's hope and reigniting this now that 2025 is here. And, here we are. It's mid-April, WrestleMania weekend, and we're talking about how underwhelming that story's been. So it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So looking at another underwhelming kind of story, the next match that we have on our card is
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
the next match we have on our card is Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a, what do they call it, a Sin City street fight?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what the purpose of putting Sin City is, but it is what it is. Drew, what are your thoughts on this match, sir?
With this match right here, it's good that both of these talents have time on the air, especially for WrestleMania, because both of them, for what they did this past year, deserve a spot in WrestleMania. And I feel like this is not, some might think that it is a kind of a thrown together match. I kind of feel like for the area that they're in, they are in Las Vegas. All right. It is Sin City. They're kind of trying to bring back aspects of what we were accustomed to seeing 25 years ago with the Attitude Era. And this with a hardcore style match in a Sin City setup, to give us that feel, of the Sin City feel and the hardcore style match. I like this. I really like this match and the two that are in it because, it'll give them an opportunity to show how creative they can be, because that's the good thing about these type of matches is it gets to showcase the creativity within both the talents that are in this match and who are helping them out behind the scenes with writing this, because of course with these type of things you can't do this by yourself. This is like Hell in a Cell, Punjabi prison style match. All right. All right. Now, when it comes to the creativity behind this, I'm looking forward to seeing how they pull this off, because we're going to see a lot of stuff within this, and it's going to showcase the setting of where they're at too. And WrestleMania is going to be big, so doing this on this stage, it's going to be something that's pretty big and better than what we saw them try to do with these type of matches, like Edge and Randy Orton or whatever at WrestleMania, several years ago or whatever, when he first came back, when it was the pandemic, and what they tried to do with that type of street fight type of match or whatever the hell they called it. I can't remember what it is, but you know what I'm talking about, because this is what this kind of reminds me of, but in the setting of where they're at with Las Vegas. So I really like this. I think that with Damian Priest and the way that he lost the championship, and he's kind of like spun his tires a little bit in certain areas since he lost the championship, and since that reign was kind of a little short in my opinion. With him kind of spinning the tires, I feel like you have to give him a win at this point. And Drew has gotten some big wins and has definitely been put over in some big spots. But Damian, even though has looked big in certain ways, he kind of needs help in certain aspects of being able to be considered a main event type talent. We already know Drew McIntyre can do it. He's already had the belt a couple of times, even though his first run was kind of lackluster because it was the pandemic era and you couldn't really see the fans' true reaction. We already know how it was, seeing how it was the reactions online. There was a lot of positive praise during a time that was a little rough in the world, where people were actually watching this to have a break from the real world in the pandemic, So with that being said, you can throw him back, and if Drew McIntyre loses this match at WrestleMania, you can still in a couple months have him written in a way to contend for the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship based on what he's done and contributed to the company. So I don't think losing this match hurts him, but I think losing this match for Damian Priest would be more of a blow to him and to what we need to have him elevated to going forward. And I think that Drew McIntyre is not selfish enough to where he needs this win. Like if you're talking about behind the scenes. So I think for storytelling and for elevation of talent, you kind of have to have Damian Priest win this match. And that's who I see winning this by the time the bell hits the end.
Drew McIntyre might not be as selfish of a guy, but I am when it comes to this match.
Ooh.
And I think that we think about last year. Who cashed in on Drew McIntyre?
Revenge.
We're talking about a whole year, technically, of an underlying storyline. The couple of times that Drew did go against Damian for the World Championship, what happened? Judgment Day. So we're talking about a whole year, basically, of a story. Where this story got messed up at was the spot in the Royal Rumble when I believe it was LA Knight that messed them up. So basically, Damian was supposed to eliminate Drew, but LA Knight got in the way. So like the spot that they were supposed to have where the camera was focused on them, it was focused on LA Knight and I think it was Logan Paul. So Drew went to the back and it was all over the internet about him being ticked off about how it went down or whatever. And that's why they had the conversation that they did on that SmackDown that coming week where LA Knight kind of fried him up coming down to the ring about him being a crybaby. So, they redid the spot basically at the Elimination Chamber to start the feud per se, but the feud in the storyline was already there. And I'm with you. Like, this was already built. The only thing you needed to do was like basically turn up the notches and make the flame a little hotter. That's it. So when you think about this match between them two, I feel like Drew needs the win. I don't want to say need. I don't think he needs the win per se, but I think it's best if he wins because of the string of losses that he has been on in major matches recently. Title matches, he hasn't won one in a while. Since that little 5 minute, was it 5 minutes, 46 seconds or something like that? He was champ. It was a very short amount of time he was champ. Right. I think
it was less than 5 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been less. Yeah, I think you're right. It was a short amount of time he was champ. And he hasn't really had a major win on a major platform in a while. Priest has had a few. Didn't Priest drop the title at SummerSlam, if I remember correctly, the Gunter. So, he's had a few wins on PLEs. He carried it for like 4 months or whatever like that. I agree with you. His reign could have been a lot better, meaning Damian Priest. But I think Drew really needs to win this in order to establish him back into that main event scene of the WWE Championship over on SmackDown. Especially dealing, with what possibly could take place as the result of the match of the WWE Championship come WrestleMania Sunday. I just hope it's like you said, take it back to the 90s. Like, take it back 90s, early 2000s, where they actually had a street fight. Like, yes. NXT has the parking lot that people get dogged in every other week on NXT. This needs to be a street fight. They need to block off a part of the strip. They can do it. Vegas did it for FS1 a few months back last year.
Oh, for sure it's happening. That I can guarantee we will see at some point within the clips of this.
They gotta be in the streets fighting, man. It's gotta be cool like that.
Cinematic. It's gonna be somewhat cinematic and stuff too. Not like Bray Wyatt style cinematic, but we're gonna see within those types of clips, we're gonna have, like, even if it's for 30 seconds, a cinema like feel.
Yeah, definitely. So I see Drew winning. I see it in a very physical Damian Priest said he's gonna bring the punishment. I believe he will. But I see Drew finding a way to get it done for this match.
So we're split on this one too. Wow. So you and I we've had some splits here within our calls, but that's healthy for predictions throughout this too. You guys let us know here in the comments what you're feeling as far as this. I've got Damian Priest, Korrey's got Drew McIntyre, and we'll see how this one goes. We'll see what we got here in the comments. Okay, Luna Vachon, and yeah, I'm gonna leave those off to the side there, CISC. For that. What are you thinking there, Korrey? Is there a particular one you want to bring to the forefront?
Nah, we're gonna leave them there.
All right. But if you guys want to keep on throwing those comments down, we've definitely got you covered. We will bring them on there within Facebook, Twitter, or X, Twitch, and of course YouTube. But yeah, CISC. Let's get back on page with what we're talking out here in these streams.
Yeah, man. And speaking of out here in these streets, we need y'all to share your predictions as well. I haven't seen too many predictions in those comments as well. Like, let's talk about it. As we're going through the matches, share what you think on your match, who's going to win those matches and why. So that way we can kind of talk about it here as well. So before we take it from the streets of the Sin City, street fight back into the realm of Allegiant Stadium, we got to take ourselves a break. So we'll be right back here with you all here in a second on episode 26 of The Grind.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Hey, what's good, everybody? This your boy Korrey, host of The Grind, where we talk about all things WWE. You can catch The Grind every single Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on SIRTOBA Media. And if you're not following SIRTOBA Media, then what are you doing? Like, share, subscribe. There are many different things that we have available on SIRTOBA Media for your viewing pleasure. And what else you got to do on a Saturday afternoon? Come spend some time with me. Come spend some time with my colleagues on this platform. Help us be able to bring everything that you all want to see. Matter of fact, you know what? If you ain't did it yet, I got something for you. Stay true to what you do, stay true to why you do, and always stay true to you.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie Bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. And $ D Willie 87. Go ahead, hit him up on the Cash App and go ahead and give him some Willie the Bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie Bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. Slide some Willie Bucks.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered a winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central on the SIRTOBA Media and the Komey Media YouTube channels.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to this special edition episode of The Grind, where we're talking about Wrestlemania 41. I am here with special guest, the brainchild of SIRTOBA Media, Mr. Drew Willingham, and we are going to continue on with our conversation about the Night 2 card. So the next match we have here is one that could be a show stealer between the phenomenal AJ Styles versus Mr. Humble himself, Logan Paul. Drew, I humbly ask you, sir, what are your thoughts on this match?
I think that he needs to go back to the dictionary, dictionize himself, as we were talking about earlier, and figure out what the word humble means there, my man with two ends. Okay? He does not know what humble means. He is far from humble with an H. Okay? He needs to go out there and talk to an H times 3 and figure out how to be humble, because H times 3 was definitely pretty humble in his Hall of Fame speech last night. And one who thinks he's humble was at said Hall of Fame induction and was talking about in the pre-show that he was going to be inducted pretty soon. That he's a Hall of Famer, that he deserves to have a ring on his finger.
Yeah.
Well, he needs to go to a local store, whatever store he wants to waste his money on, and buy whatever ring of his choice, because he does not deserve to have said Hall of Fame ring just yet. Now, he has had some highlights to add to his reel and definitely has talent. And in time, I can definitely see where his comments may age well, okay? But right here and now in 2025, I don't agree with that. I do not agree with it whatsoever. AJ Styles is a Hall of Famer right here and now. You retire after this match if like Logan Paul is like the Baron Corbin to Kurt Angle for you, Logan Paul to AJ Styles, if that's the situation that it may be, which it's not going to be. This is not announced as a retirement match, and it doesn't look like he is in a position to just flip it off. AJ Styles has another good, great story run in him, too. I don't see that being the case. However, they just keep pushing Logan Paul to the moon. The H loves Logan Paul. You've got the Prime logo in the middle of the ring. You got the dude in the Prime suit running around acting a fool that can get stone cold stunners or rock bottoms or whatever you want to do with them and beat the expletive out of the Prime bottle. Okay. You can do that with his decoys, but here and now with Logan Paul, even though his decoys get beat up and take the brunt of the beating, Logan Paul still finds a way to take the dub, okay? Looking at it here and now, I think that Logan Paul walks away with this, even though I want to see AJ Styles win this match. But I think Logan does.
I'm gonna do us a favor here on The Grind. You know, we like to learn things. There's nothing wrong with learning stuff. We should learn something new every day, right? Let's take a look at the definition of humble.
There it is.
Humble, having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. Definition number 2, of low social, administrative, or political rank. A humble person is someone who is not boastful, arrogant, or proud. None of those things describe Logan Paul. None of it. Absolutely none of it. And the fact that his theme song is called Humble really kind of just rubs me the wrong way. This guy is nowhere near humble. But I will tell you what. This, in my Drew Willingham voice, mother father can freaking wrestle. This mother father can freaking wrestle. And I do not want to take that away from him. He has had some great moments. He's had some great matches. I mean, at times I feel like he tried to do too much, so it becomes a little I hate using this word, but I'm gonna use it, botchy.
Yes.
So you know, it kind of messes up the flow of the match, but it's no, like, you can see the talent. The dude has a natural gift to wrestle, point blank, period. And he guaranteed that he would do this full time and blah, 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 blah. We knew you was BSing, Logan Paul. You can't do it full time because you're too involved with other stuff. You still trying to look the box. Come on, man. But I think if he did actually put it in full time, he would be one of the champions of one of those shows right now.
I mean, he's already had the United States Championship.
I mean, a main title, like main event scene. Just because of what you said, though, because of his presence, the prime bottle being in the middle, the prime sitting on outside of the ring. You know, he always got somebody dressed up in a prime suit. Somebody's got a prime bottle that he takes out of the ring and drinks behind them, which I think is really disgusting. But he is definitely, I see Sick Diggy said in the comments that he is a natural heel. Sick, what's up, man?
Sick.
You know, it's a natural heel. He's absolutely right. He is a natural heel. He needs to stay. He needs to stay in there. Okay. He needs to stay in that heel run. Do not do what you did to Tiffy. Do not mess this man up. Okay. Keep Logan Paul in this scene of WWE. We need to see him more. He does not need to be in all these different ventures. He needs to focus on this one thing. And let's see what we can do with him from there. His promo work,
trash.
Get in there. Get in there. All right. But his in-ring work, oh yeah, he can go. But I'm with you. In my heart, I really want AJ to win. I don't remember. When did AJ win a WrestleMania match last, Drew? Do you remember? Because I don't remember.
It's been a while. Well, I mean,
who was it against? He lost.
He won one since he got buried by the Undertaker.
I don't think so. He lost against Edge. I don't think he's won since he beat Shinsuke. Somebody fact check that for me. Like,
yeah, Sick is like our Tony Reale of our platform. So Sick, you can look that up and let us know.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, Sick. But
who he last beat?
The last thing I remember is him losing to Edge when the Judgment Day was really forming. But like, I feel like in his Hall of Fame career, he needs it. But I understand that Logan Paul's the now, and they're trying to get a significant rub onto Logan Paul. He has not had great success at Mania neither, losing, I think, the majority of his matches. I think the only one he's won was against when him and The Miz was tag teaming.
Yes.
So I definitely understand what they're trying to do with Logan, but Logan got to show up for me. So I'm with you. I want AJ to win, but ultimately I think Logan is going to take the win.
It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. So, you know, Logan, he keeps getting pushed to the moon. We're thinking he's going to get pushed to the moon again after this. And it's not going to be a result of Prime's money. It's going to be what they think he can do as a talent in the ring, according to
I don't know, man. But speaking of talents in the ring, we got to move on to this next match. This next match is very interesting.
Yes, it most certainly is.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
So the next match we have here is the fatal four-way Intercontinental Championship match between the champion, Braun Breaker. Where my dogs at? I ain't want to be too loud in the mic. Against Penta, who has been like on fire since he's joined the WWE. Dirty Dom Mysterio. And my guy, Finn Balor. Mr. Willingham. This match can go, honestly, any way of any person in this match. Where do you see it going?
I mean, Penta's been pretty hot since he came in. You know, I wouldn't be mad if Penta won the championship here. I feel like this is going to be where we see the beginning of Finn splitting from the Judgment Day. Like we've seen, you know, cracks within the surface of the two between Dom and Finn, and then of course the female influence between Liv Morgan and Rockwell in there. So looking at that for what it is, I think that of course we're not going to see a win by Dom or Finn as a result. The only way this ends, in my opinion, is by either if it's going to change hands, it's going to be if Penta wins this match. But I wouldn't be surprised if Braun, you know, wins this match at the end of it, you know, as well. So, you know, it's not. I don't really want to say a throwaway match. It's kind of cool that we have the first ever Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania. I just don't think that either one of the two members of the Judgment Day win this, but I do think that this match is a huge catalyst as to the breakup between Finn Balor and the Judgment Day, and what could be either the Judgment Day dissolving altogether or just kind of resurfacing what their group is, kind of like how they did when they removed Edge and then when they removed Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley and do something with Dom and Liv Morgan and whatever the hell they put together. But right here and now, I don't think either one of the two members of the Judgment Day win this match. I think if the new winner of a championship, it's going to be Penta, or it's going to be Braun retaining this. But I think that with what Braun's done with the Intercontinental Championship, a couple reigns now, that like he deserves to be getting matches within the main event scene at some point in the near future. So if this is a time for him to put anybody else over, and especially Penta with as hot as he's been, I think that the best decision here, even though he's only been with the company a short period of time, as hot as he's been coming in, the merchandise sales, everything, you put the belt on Penta and see how this momentum continues to shift with an outside talent that's come in with this type of momentum. I kind of like Penta in this match.
Okay. I want to say that I'm probably going to disappoint you with this. But I have a total different thought on this.
All right.
Hear me out. What if Dirty Dom wins?
If he wins. But steals the win from Finn, like Finn has it set up for him to win. Like, you know, does the coup de grace and then, you know, and then like Dom hits him, you know.
Come on. You're walking with me.
Okay. All right. Continue. All right. Let's have a moment.
Dirty Dom has been getting sunned, little brothered by Finn Balor for quite a while now, because Finn Balor can't win. You listen to Finn, you win. And Finn Balor's been doing nothing but losing on a whole different show. I believe it was No Name Wrestling. Shout out to those guys. They've been calling him Pin Balor. I feel like it's a little disrespectful. You know how I feel about Finn. But I understand it. It's justified. Okay. It's justified calling him Pin Balor. I'm not upset at it. But in this match, because he has been here for that short of amount of time and the type of aura he has, I do feel like right now is not the right time for Penta to win. I'm not mad at it. But I do feel like it's just not the right time for Penta to win. Braun Breaker, as you said, he's shown his worth through his first two title reigns as Intercontinental Champion. Him losing is not going to hurt him whatsoever. But the one person that has been consistent on this thing that has shown up each and every week is Dom Mysterio. Yes. Dom Mysterio, from the first time that he showed up on our TVs during that pandemic era, going to get Seth Rollins at that SummerSlam and getting the crap beat out of him, into what he is now as the, can we say, top heel in the company still. he's evolved. And I think that when you add in the factor of Judgment Day basically ready to dissolve, I believe if they take Finn Balor out, they just need to dissolve Judgment Day altogether. It needs to be done with. They need to move on and do something different. But with Dirty Dom, I feel like because he's going to get booed as all get out if he wins that title, it is going to be deafening boos. And that's what you want for your crowds is reactions, right? You want that. So, and then he's deserving. I'm not mad at it. You know, he has shown up. He's played his role. He's played his part. He hasn't complained. And because of the fact that Finn is sleeping on him, I'm pretty sure Braun is sleeping on him. I'm pretty sure Penta is sleeping on him. How trash people talk about this man. Like, I feel like it's going to be that situation. Finn is going to be like, when he's getting ready to pin either Braun or Penta, hit that coup de grace. He's like, yeah, I'm about to win. And Dom comes in. You know how they do. Throw him out of the ring, and he gets the cover. And he wins the Intercontinental Championship. I can see, and I think Dom Mysterio is going to walk away Intercontinental Champion, and Finn's jealousy is what's really going to fire up the ending of the Judgment Day.
Okay, I like it. That's a really good take, and definitely in a different direction too, and it would definitely stir the crowd up if that were to happen in that way that you threw it out there. I like it. You definitely threw that together real creatively. That hopefully the higher ups there can do the same.
I mean, he can hire me. You know, Triple H can hire me if he can just double my salary I make now. I'll move to Connecticut. Sure.
Hey, Six says, don't be surprised if Liv Morgan and Rockwell, interject themselves in the match.
I can see it. I mean, that's Judgment Day's MO. Definitely can see it, Sick.
And as far as Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio go, they could have JD McDonough and or Carlito involved. I thought JD's been hurt though.
He's supposed to be on his way back. You know, I don't know when. JD could be a great surprise to show up as far as that goes. So we'll see.
As far as the live, other than the streaming channels for the event, you'll have to watch it on Peacock as far as WrestleMania here in a little bit. And apparently both Logan and Jake Paul wrestled in high school, Sig Diggy says.
Yeah, but like the stuff that Logan's able to do in the ring, high flyer wise, like moments, you can't learn that in a high school gym. That's the dude has an innate talent for sure. Logan, meaning.
And speaking of the previous match, CISC says AJ Styles is not going out like that to Logan Paul. A title is a title. How many titles do you have? I got one right there.
I got 3 of them on the wall behind me.
Yeah, and I also got the World Heavyweight Championship. You know, before we end this thing, when we get to the main event, I'm going to have my championship on my shoulder. You best believe now. All right, we still got time in this show. I'm going to have it out. Just got to go to the other room during the last commercial break, all right? You know, we get it. Here it is. But, it comes to that. When it comes to CISC, it's a great one right there. But also, Six says, Logan is a natural heel. Trust and believe that there will be twists and turns in the match with Styles and himself.
I agree. 1,000%. 1,000%.
And the one thing that, too, after I did acknowledge Sick when he first came in, but he did throw this when we were talking about the humble. Logan Paul is anything but humble, not unless the Iron Sheik is involved.
That's a great point, Sick. That's a great point.
Oh, we got a Legacy Maker in the house. The fellas. Dio's here. Says D Willie and K-Man bringing the heat. 5. We appreciate you being out here in these streams with us because there's certain things out here that may do this to you that what we're talking about. But there's one thing that's for sure there, Corey. There's one thing that's for sure when it comes to a match, when it comes to this Intercontinental Championship match, that someone is going to win, but 3 people within this match are going to certifiably take the... Got him.
They're going to have to hold it. They're going to have to hold that. Hold that L. Hold it.
Great stuff in the comments, though, you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate you guys joining us for our WrestleMania special, the first live episode of The Grind for episode 26. Before we get into what we have left for you all, we do have another commercial break. So hang tight and enjoy. We'll be back.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in the running and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition, dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, go
In a world where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams, whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening,
this Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
exclusively on SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony, or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another beating a dead horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network proudly presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson, live every weekday morning beginning April 29th at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. If you want your commanders to be repped right, well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report, every Tuesday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, 12:05 a.m. Central, on the SIRTOBA Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where my soldiers, right side, commanders. Where my soldiers, left side,
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in the running and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Hey, what's good? What's good? Welcome back, everyone, to episode 26 of The Grind, a special episode as we are live for the first time talking about WrestleMania 41 here with the brainchild behind SIRTOBA Media. Mr. Drew Willingham is here with me for this episode, and we're going to continue our conversation around the second half of the second night of WrestleMania 41. One of the crazy things that happened that we did not anticipate is Kevin Owens getting injured. And right away, I know I speak for D. Willie over there and myself. Kevin Owens, please, man, focus on yourself. We wish you a speedy recovery, and take care of yourself. Take care of your family, man. I will tell you that guy that said something nasty to him on his way out, like, if I could figure out who that was, we probably have to plan something for that guy, Drew. He's trash. He's trash. Yeah, he got to go. But this leaves Randy Orton with no opponent for WrestleMania, and Randy Orton has chosen to go to WrestleMania, stand in the middle of that ring, booted up, ready to go, and wait. He said he wants an open challenge. He opened it up to any man that steps up to him in the ring. So, Mr. Willingham, who do you think steps up to the Viper?
You know, it could be kind of a far-fetched guess there, Korrey, but we talked about a story earlier that's been upsetting us. It's far-fetched a little bit, maybe to guess this, but thinking about the foundation of the story from the past decade or so, prior to, an unfortunate passing of a beloved legend that you and I both, love to talk about, that you have behind you on your wall, and the story that has been underwhelming to us for quite some time. Randy Orton going against somebody that is unknown. Think about when Seth Rollins had an opponent that we didn't know 4 years ago that was coming back to WrestleMania. Now, I don't know if it's going to be particularly that, which I'll get to that in a second. But looking at this, for Randy Orton not having an opponent at WrestleMania, Korrey, this is big. This is mother-fathering big. You throw my name out there, throw my word out there, I'm going to throw this for a mother-fathering situation. For all of you watching this live here and now, Randy Orton can face the following. I have a top 4 I've at least composed. All right, 4 people that I've got selected. Number 1, speaking of what I was speaking of, Uncle Howdy fills the void of what we could have seen from Bray Wyatt at this point for WrestleMania 41, and they find a way to re-spark the storyline within the Wyatts, and Uncle Howdy comes back from injury, and this is the perfect opportunity for him to come back at the platform that he should be on based on how they resurrected this story last year. This is your reward. Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, you are on WrestleMania. This is what I would want to see Randy Orton face in this match on Sunday. Okay, that's my pick. That's number 1 of the top 4. There are two free agents now that have been recently departed from AEW within a short enough amount of span that could come to WWE, who have had time spent within WWE that are big enough to fill a void for WrestleMania for the Kevin Owens absence. Number 1 is the formerly known as Rusev Miro from AEW, who is a free agent who could come in. But I feel like, even though that's the second person on my list, I feel like the best available free agent that would have a match with Randy Orton and that could win this, or not necessarily win, but get put over big from a return, would be Aleister Black, the AEW free agent, leaving there. You got to go with him as the better one that could give him a better match between Randy Orton and himself, as somebody kind of like Cody, who's the unknown a few years back, coming in against Seth Rollins, who's the workhorse, which Seth Rollins is like the standard nowadays. If you can't have a good match with him, then you can't have a good match anywhere on a big event within a premium live event. Cody proved that. Randy Orton's a standard too, when you think about it, when healthy, and he's healthy now. So if you can't have a good match with Randy Orton on WrestleMania, then you don't deserve to be there, and it's going to be the beginning of the end if you don't have a good match, okay? But they also got to be able to trust whoever's going to be on the card with him, right? And you're not going to be putting him in some type of battle royal. It's either Uncle Howdy, which is my number 1 pick, formerly known as Rusev Miro, Aleister Black, or my 4th pick if they decide to go with a former champion on champion match. All right. And I don't really like this one because then it's like, this is a throwaway match, a squash match. It's going to be 3 minutes or less. All right. Is they put the Miz up there to face Randy Orton because they had they had feuds back in the day. Was it big enough to really have as a WrestleMania match? No, that's why it's my number 4 of matches that I really took time to sit back and think about who he could really face. But based on great storytelling within the past between the Wyatt family and Randy Orton, if I were literally randomly, because this was literally thrown to us within a short period of time, and I, as an adult, haven't had a whole lot of time to really sit back and think about it. I mean, because you know how life is, Korrey. Mm-hmm. You just recently got back from working out of town. You know how it is. Mm-hmm. So, wrapping my mind about it earlier in the day, I thought about it. I was like, hey, a top 4, this is the best I can really come up with. But I like Uncle Howdy as my number 1 available person within the company. And then you have the 2 free agents if you're trying to have somebody debut it or appear at WrestleMania, which usually happens, like Rey Fenix, how he recently debuted, and others leading up to WrestleMania. Then you usually have a returning person for a big spot return, or it's the Raw after WrestleMania or the SmackDown after, as they're kicking off a new season leading up to, SummerSlam, another, big event later on and then of course the other big ones later in the year up to next WrestleMania too. So my pick number one and what the heart wants is Uncle Howdy, but then you have Rusev, Aleister Black, and finish it off with The Miz as my top four that could potentially face Randy Orton in this WrestleMania.
I had two people come to mind. One of them you stated. We're on the exact same page when it comes to Uncle Howdy.
Yes.
Because of the storyline, it's already there, and how the last match went with Bray, rest in peace, and Randy. It would be left. It would be some revenge left on the table there. Let me put that out there. It'll be some revenge left on the table for Uncle Howdy, and it will be a sweet, sweet thing if he can go out and put down Randy Orton. And it'll be a great way to reintroduce and rekindle the Wyatt Six kind of flame. And I think the reaction that they would get inside of that stadium would be like insane if that happened. But I have one that is historical, one that will break the confines of the main roster. And all you gotta do is say his name.
No way!
I'm thinking that they are going to break the grounds and bring in TNA World Champion Joe Hendry. Joe has no stake in this. Okay? He has no stake in this. This does not hurt him. If anything, this elevates him. Somebody in TNA has never, ever, ever been on this type of stage before as champion. Okay, you can call Royal Rumble. Cool. Royal Rumble is like second fiddle to WrestleMania. WrestleMania, as you eloquently stated earlier, is the Super Bowl of wrestling. Point blank, period. It is the end-all, be-all. And I said earlier this week that WrestleMania week needs to be a holiday. The entire week. Okay? Monday to Monday, because the Monday after WrestleMania normally is lit too. So Monday to Monday, everybody take PTO. But
I wish.
Me too, bro. But
I'm just glad to have today and tomorrow off, where
look,
we're watching it.
I put in a PTO day for Monday after all that traveling I just did.
Well, you deserve it from your states away. Of course you do. Yeah, you're a different story than me. Yeah.
So, but I think it's going to be Joe Hendry because of the reaction. They're trying to make historical moments. And I think that, sick dig it, exactly. I think that Joe Hendry is going to be that person that shows up. He has pedigree, okay? He already is over with the fans. You saw how it reacted on NXT last year. He was the top, I think he was the most viral moment of WWE last year, right? I think he won the award for that, which is kind of crazy to think about. Somebody outside of the company that just in partnership with can make that type of reaction. Tell me that won't be a WrestleMania moment of all time if that happens, right? So he has no stake. It's not hurting anything storyline-wise. It's not making anybody feel like they're buried, etc. It's basically an exhibition and giving the fans something that they want. That you can see that all online. Aleister Black, he is returning next Friday, 4/25. Point blank period. If you've been watching SmackDown the last few weeks, it's been vignettes that is very Aleister Black-ish. So I don't think they're going to spoil that by doing the vignettes on SmackDown and telling us this yesterday that they're going to bring him back on 4/25 just to bring him back at Mania. So I think they're going to bring him actually back on that Friday, next Friday. I think it's going to be Joe Hendry.
CISC says Samoa Joe Sick agrees with me. It says he'd like to see a Aleister Black return. So, with that being in my top four, he likes one of those picks. It looks like AJ Styles hasn't won a singles match since Survivor Series 2023. Since then, he's been plagued with ankle injuries since December 2023, which is right after Survivor Series. Mm-hmm. Styles' last premium live event / pay-per-view match was against Cody Rhodes at the Clash of the Castle, Scotland on June 15th, 2024.
Hey, Sick, you the man, dog. I appreciate you, man.
Tony Reale of our show, man. It's great. Gotta love having Six Diggy out there. To the 60 of you watching us live, thank you so much between all the platforms that we are currently streaming to. You guys are absolutely crushing it. Keep these comments going. But with Randy Orton, there's a lot of different choices. I like where you're going to. I mean, we're both, again, on the same page with the Uncle Howdy, situation. That would be our beloved number one to do that if we could choose with our heartstrings. But, between either Aleister Black, or, with in the directions that we were going with what we were picking, I like, come on, Uncle Howdy, man.
It's
Uncle Howdy would.
Man, I would love to see it, but I just got this itch that it's going to be Joe.
That would be huge too, though, for TNA to boost them. I mean, look at what they did with Jordan Grace before with the women's division. Eventually, once she became a free agent, then they snatched her up. She's in NXT now. And of course they're looking to bring in somebody with big clout like herself, but on the men's division, and Joe Hendry could be it. Now, with you bringing that up and thinking about that, did you have a chance to think about or look into what's the contract status of Joe Hendry? Like, where is he at? Does he have like another year or two on his contract? Is it coming up this year? Or
I have not looked into that. Being that they just made him world champion, I don't see like him having a contract situation coming up here soon. But I don't know. I haven't looked into that. That's a great question that we definitely should look into because, Jordan Grace was really going into her final year when she was really getting like promoted on that WWE NXT brand. So that is a great question. We will have to do some research on that one.
Yeah, Six says nothing wrong with the live research. It always helps. Well, hey, speaking of live research, if you could look that up for what we were just talking about, we would greatly mother-fathering appreciate you out here. And hey, I'm doing my best to keep the mother-fathers in check because we did have old Bruce slip up with the one earlier. And speaking of stories, got to bring up Cody.
You guys want to hear a fucking story?
That one was bleeped, so that saves the day from earlier. That's the story of we have one now that's bleeped that saves the day because if not, sometimes when it comes to cussing, you might be there.
Oh, you're fucking scared. Yeah, you're fucking scared, man.
As we have wrestling within the shenanigery of this podcast.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Look like CISC had something to add in there. Let's see. He can find out who Randy will be fighting tonight. Drew Dog, you want him to tell you tonight before 2 a.m.
Sure. You can send your responses to SIRTOBAmedia@gmail.com. I will have that streaming across the bottom here. I'll type that up, something to come across the bottom here at the end. Or you know what? When it comes to SIRTOBA Media stuff, I'll play this at the end, but if you're looking for a way to contact, you can contact SIRTOBA Media this way at these platforms right here. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and X. If you're interested in discussing the Grinds content, 25 great episodes before this were on this platform, before I even graced my ugly appearance on this show today for episode 26. But the X platform, Instagram, Facebook, and all those platforms out there, you can send messages, send your findings to there. I would love to hear about that. And we can talk about that later on. But right here and now, for Randy Orton, though, when it comes to that, Six says, here's a thought. What if the new bloodline finally brings in a new member to appear at WrestleMania 41 against Orton? Well, we were talking about that earlier with interference of another match. Korrey, what are your thoughts?
I can definitely see it happening. I think that, the other bloodline, though, members that we're thinking about is going to NXT first. That is what heavily the rumor is that person will start off in NXT. So I don't think we're going to see anybody anytime soon. I don't think they're as ready as Jacob was. So, we'll wait and see. But I'm thinking it's going to be NXT.
Says he's talking about Talatonga, a.k.a. Hikuleo, finally making his WWE debut. Because he was signed around the time Lance was.
Yeah, and that's the one that they're talking about going to NXT first. So we'll see.
Because doesn't he have less experience than Lance does? Because Lance has got over a decade experience on the Indies, where Lance would make more sense of somebody to enter, to have a match with Randy if it's going to be anybody from the new bloodline. But yes, Randy Orton definitely. We're going to see something interesting happen with him on Sunday. I believe it's going to be impactful enough.
For sure. So let's look into another impactful storyline, one that has been kind of the theme of what we've been talking about throughout this stream here over.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it, and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
And that match is the Women's World Championship match between the champion Io Sky, mommy herself, Rhea Ripley, and the EST. You can't spell WrestleMania without EST, Miss Bianca Belair. Drew, this storyline has been, for lack of a better term, a hot mess, to where Io Sky has constantly been tossed to the side like an old cigarette bud. What is your thoughts on this match?
I can't disagree with what you just said at all, because that is exactly how I feel within this match right here. And, they tried to show her with the upper hand during their last segment on regular TV, and now we have the WrestleMania weekend, and we're back to like other matches we talked about earlier, where we just honestly don't give an expletive. Like, we really when it comes to this, and that's sad because we already know Bianca's not going to win this match based on the way that the hype of this has been, and somehow, some way, even if it comes close to looking like she's going to win, whether it's Jade, whether it's Naomi, there's going to be some type of interference in this match from them or from somebody outside there, and it's going to have to do with that. And then Rhea, I just don't like the way that it was thrust into this triple threat match. We have way too many matches with multiple competitors within the match, and I like the Intercontinental 4-way match over this triple threat match for the Women's Championship, solely because we have never had an Intercontinental 4-way before at WrestleMania, and that is kind of cool for the historic value of that, okay? Whether we agree for who's going to win or the impact on the card that it has, that is for a story for that segment, which we didn't even say that within that segment, so I'm not even mad at it, all right? But here and now for the Women's World Championship, it's like another snooze fest. It's like another, to me, you get up, you get some popcorn, go get your adult beverages. You're talking about flicking Io Sky around like it's a cigarette, but you just hinted that if you're a smoker, you might as well get up, walk outside the arena, burn one or two, because you got 20 minutes to go do that, because it's not like this one's going to be a barn burner. Or you and I could be completely, the way you deliver the intro, and the way I am just saying it now, I could be completely wrong by the time we get to this match on Sunday night. With that being said, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I feel like right here and now that with the build up to it, like you were talking about leading up to it, it's very lackluster, like some of the other multiple competitor matches we have on this card or in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania weekend. Because a lot of these matches, whether we agree or disagree, just appear to be somewhat predictable. And some of these things we're picking to kind of go away from the predictability of it, just for the fact of somewhat of a debate to an extent for our old school roots within debatable stuff within sports and also professional wrestling. You know exactly what I'm saying, right out here in these streams. All right. But right now, for this championship match, I think you're picking up what I'm throwing down. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, based on the way that it's put together. But Io Sky had her run with the WWE Women's Championship. She also has now had a run with the World Championship. You got to keep Rhea Ripley strong within this. And if you're not going to put it on Bianca because of the drama that's going on within that, Rhea has definitely rised above all with her drama and can carry the women's division within that. And I think that maybe, with still Io having that allegiance with Damage Control, a group that turned their back on Bayley, Dakota Kai could, stick a knife in the back of WrestleMania for Io to lose. So that way they have some type of a feud. Or Asuka could be coming back, and Asuka was part of the group that's been gone. And or what's her name? I can't. What's her name?
Kairi
Sane. You've got multiple members of that group or all of them that could just. That group, they never dissolved it, to my opinion, or to my knowledge. They never dissolved Damage Control, and you have that as a storyline culminating at WrestleMania that you could have stab her in the back, and Rhea Ripley is able to capitalize on the drama between Bianca Belair and what she's got going on, and what Io Sky could potentially have with Damage Control. If they're going to make this any type of meaningful or any type of storyline impactful match, that's the only way I can really see it happen, and Rhea capitalizes. So my pick to win this triple threat, based on all the BS I threw out there, is Rhea Ripley.
It wasn't BS, but this story literally feels like a dumpster fire. Like just throw me in a dumpster and light the match. Now, what I will say is that Io Sky can go. Like, she is a amazing wrestler that is incredibly popular. So I could see how the match would revolve around her, but we all know what the match was. The match was Rhea against Bianca. They've been teasing it for years now. This ain't just been a thing. Even when they were champs together, right? They were teasing it when it was her. When they both won SmackDown, Raw, and then I think it was Raquel that was the NXT Women's Champion, and they took that picture together. Like, they've been teasing that for a while, and that was the match to make. And this match here, I think it's going to be good. Do I feel like it's going to be great? I don't know. The jury's still out on that. I don't feel as confident because, again, how we led into this thing. So with that being said, I have the same feeling about this match that I do about the men's Intercontinental Championship match. Io Sky has been tossed to the side quite a bit. And I think that, again, Rhea Ripley going to get in her own way. She has never been able to beat Io Sky. Bianca Belair, you already stated, she has her issues with Jade and Naomi. And I think that is going to lead to Io Sky actually retaining. She lost the WWE Women's Championship to Bayley last year at Mania. I think that's what is going to lead her to retaining. Io Sky is going to walk away as the Women's World Champion and continue her reign on WWE Raw. I don't see where she honestly could lose unless that situation that you just stated happens. So Io Sky continues to be champion.
And I like your picking that, and I was leaning, personally, I was leaning towards that, but it's like I've said in certain parts without saying the words, for the sake, exactly where I'm going with. For
the sake of debate.
There it is. I was kind of, you got to keep things impactful to where you yourself will have fun later putting some clips together. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But when it comes to this show, that was definitely fun with that. And the comments definitely rolled in as well, with Six saying Lance Anoa'i has been a pro since April 3rd, 2010, along with his relative making his pro debut on November 12th, 2016. They have a 6-year difference. Hikuleo and him have a 6-year difference. So don't forget that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez could also interfere in that match and screw Rhea Ripley.
That's true.
So that's very, very true, yes. I just feel like at this point they've done enough with that storyline. They kind of need to let that subside. I don't think that's why I feel like the other bits of drama are going to cost the other two. And that's what was going with my prediction with, just to keep things a debatable discussion. And Io Sky is no slouch. She'll bring it. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with Korrey to an extent. I feel like she's going to win that match. And I like how he put that all together creatively. We'll have to see. One way or another, where we've been splitting, I mean, it's only going to go one way or the other. So there's going to be some splits in there where I'm going to win a couple. Korrey's probably going to win most of them. Because some of them I did on purpose. And it Stick says, maybe members of Damage Control could show up to back up their girl. I mean, yes, that could be true. Very true. but also WrestleMania is like the stage of the turn, the stabs in the back. So, and Dakota Kai and them have been heels before. They've kind of shifted more towards faces in a way in this time since they've left with Bailey. It kind of feels like they're all just faces now.
Yeah,
the group and Bailey away from them. So that's how I feel about it. But CISC says they're trying to get people paid and get them promoted, and just being on the card is all that matters. I mean, absolutely, especially when it comes to WrestleMania. Those who were just on SmackDown yesterday are not going to be getting the type of pay that those on that and WrestleMania are going to get paid.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't disagree with that. I understand, what the thought process is with it. But, if we're talking about business, I'm in the mode of making money regardless. If I'm continuing to make money, I'm going to put on the best show possible so that way everybody can get paid. So definitely understand that.
Absolutely.
All right. So we've been through a lot of matches, Mr. Willingham, but we still have one very important match. Probably the important match of the entire weekend.
The match of the week.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
It is the headline of this year's WrestleMania. The recently Fruity Pebble turned heel. Now he doesn't care. Now you don't care, huh? Now. Mr. You Can't See Me Man, Mr. Air himself, John Cena, against a polarizing character. Maybe this age John Cena, this generation's John Cena, the American Nightmare, the undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. There is a lot that can happen, that probably will happen during this match, Mr. Willingham, but where do you see this going creatively? Who walks out undisputed champion?
Well, I don't have the championship that they are competing for in this particular moment, but I do have the big gold belt.
Ooh, that's beauty. That's a beauty.
Do have the big gold belt, which is, of course, the WCW version of this championship of the company represented number one belt. So I felt like it qualifies because I didn't want to. I've got another championship that I will bring before we go, to a close of the show. But right here now, when it comes to the United States of America, and it comes to this place known as WWE, which has now grown beyond the United States of America, the World Championship, the undisputed WWE Championship, and Fruity Pebbles of Fruity himself, John Cena, competing for number 17. This belt right here, John Cena has held at one point. World Heavyweight Championship of this caliber, formerly WCW, but then the WWE's version of the World Heavyweight Championship. So this qualifies as part of that 16 championship reign. John Cena has threatened to take the championship hostage and win it and leave town and to never return and to retire on those terms. And I am not buying it here at WrestleMania. I feel like his quest will continue to still go after the WWE Championship, but will it be at WrestleMania or will it be at SummerSlam? For this main event between Cody Rhodes and John Cena, right here and now, Sunday night. So much hype has been behind Cody Rhodes as far as being this champion, but we have now got a split between the crowd. If you watched SmackDown last night, you saw that there was some boos for Cody and some cheers for this heel version of John Cena. And John Cena, who really wants to go out with a bang, is not going to win the championship and just disappear, okay? We're going to get more of John Cena throughout this year, as there has already been confirmed dates that John Cena is going to be there at certain points throughout this year that has been reported, and SummerSlam being one of them, okay? So with that being said, John Cena, I think just for the upset of it, I've got to pick John Cena winning this match. And he is going to get number 17, and it's going to be like the Reign of Terror that Triple H had. And it's going to be very similar to what we've seen in like boxing style movies where you've got the heel champion who picks his opponents, handpicks his opponents. Easy victories for John Cena. John Cena's 17th heavyweight championship title defense will be taken into the end of the year. And he will even be at next year's WrestleMania where he will lose because all heels lie, Korrey, man. And he will be the part-time champion that we hated in Roman Reigns, but the part-time champion even beyond that because he'll only show up for the PLEs and he'll only show up for the major ones like SummerSlam, like Survivor Series, like Royal Rumble, like WrestleMania. And eventually he will lose it back to Cody Rhodes, who will then begin his second title run with the WWE Championship. And that is my prediction for this match there for Pebbles of Fruity.
What the Pebbles of Fruity? I'm feeling a little short-handed right now. I think I might need to snatch that undisputed title off the wall right there. So that way, let's do that. Let's grab this title off the wall right here real quick.
Okay.
So that way, I can join in with Mr. Willingham here while we have this great conversation about who's going to take this title. Now, Mr. Willingham, when I think about what has made this so prestigious, what has made this the title over the years, it has been the stories, it has been the battles, it has been the things that men are willing to go through that others aren't willing to go through in order to call themselves champion. Not just champion, but champion of the greatest wrestling company in history. In a moment where it is at its highest peak, sales-wise, marketing-wise, etc. This year, we have been granted the gift of seeing one of the greats go out on his shield. And I, Drew Willingham, needed to feel the weight of this title. Just like John Cena told Cody that he could not handle the weight of carrying this title at last year's WrestleMania, even though he helped him win. Now, remember earlier in the show, this stream here, we talked about there is key indicators that WWE gives away that shows you who is going to win the match. And probably a good 90% of the time, we're right.
Okay.
So when we think about this, the last two times John Cena and Cody Rhodes have met face to face, what happened at the end?
John Cena was on the ground.
Was on his back.
Yep.
This Sunday at WrestleMania, we will not be feeling adrenaline in our soul. We will not be feeling an American nightmare, but more of a thugonomic nightmare. This Sunday at WrestleMania, we will see the crowning of a brand new WWE champion and the champion of all time. Breaking it for the 17th time, John Cena will become WWE undisputed champion, and he will be the most despicable champion we have seen in the ages. John Cena will win his 17th championship. And just like you said, I see him holding it to the end of the year. I don't see him showing up after December. I think he's done.
If he still has the championship, I don't see him relinquishing it, though. I don't see him handing it over.
He won't relinquish it. I think the person that's going to beat him for it is not Cody. I think it's going to be his greatest rival,
The Rock.
CM.
CM Punk. Yeah. Okay.
I think CM Punk goes.
Or him and Randy Orton had a feud too.
Roman Reigns would be a great choice as well.
Yes.
But I feel story-wise to close it, it's got to be Punk.
I like that. I like that too. But we both agree that John Cena wins this match, and you don't think that Cody wins it back at WrestleMania. I mean, because Cody's had his dance with the WWE Championship. He could win the World Heavyweight Championship another 7 times. It doesn't really matter because he's had his dance now with the Undisputed Championship for a year. It's a respectable run. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it whatsoever. We both agree on the fact that Cody loses at night 2.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel Cody is going to lose. Yeah, let's look at these comments. So he says Cena wins the belt and Cody will chase him for the rematch.
Yes. I like that. They're chasing for the rematch, but he's not going to, I mean, he's in the keyword's going to be chase because he's not going to capitalize on an opportunity. Cena will not drop the belt back to Cody. But Cody has had a respectable run. I mean, to have it for a year from WrestleMania to WrestleMania, that just goes to show that the company has faith in you, and you can still, make big things out of the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw, or do some work with the mid-card championships again with the Intercontinental and the United States, and still get your way back into the main event scene at some point later. But you've had your dance with it, and you did a great job, and Pops, be proud. Sounds like the Great White Hype with Samuel L. Jackson and Damon Wayans. Sick Diggy.
Sick, man. He always got the heat, man. He always has the heat.
He does. CISC says, I actually took pictures with that belt at Ric Flair's house. Whenever you win a title, then give you a title as a trophy, then you have one you defend. Ric Flair has the emeralds and the rubies. Well, that's pretty cool there, CISC. Again, send your pictures to Google, Gmail. You can. Our email is SIRTOBAmedia@gmail.com. I would love to see said picture that you were speaking of. That would be absolutely awesome. John Cena will wind up losing the title to The Rock after the movie Big Trouble in Little China, which was supposed to be in theaters December 27th, 2024. That was the reason for the lack of promotion.
I don't know about him losing to The Rock. I don't see it.
Could The Rock involve himself in the match? I feel like based on how flat that storyline has been since the Elimination Chamber, which I'm talking about the part that involves The Rock, there's been none that involves him. We haven't seen him do really anything. I feel like you should see him at some point in this match, very similar to the style of what we saw last year, maybe not involving as many people, but at least the fact that you have him coming out there with some type of weight belt that says something on there that has something to do with punishing Cody at some point within the match. What do you think there, Korrey? I'm probably wrong with that, but it's a good guess.
No, I definitely can see it because John Cena is not winning this square up. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's going to be the despicable heel. Okay? He's going to have a CM Punk moment after, what was it, One Night Stand or whatever it was, the ECW event. I can't remember what the actual event was, but when CM Punk took the title, basically took his ball and went home, he's going to have that same appeal. It was Money in the Bank. He's going to have that same type of appeal when he wins this title and leave. I definitely see him doing it because he has not won a singles match in over 2,000 days. We're creeping up on 3,000. So I definitely see some shenanigans, for lack of a better term, taking place for him to win this title.
That'd be some great shenanigery that we would see within this match. You guys have absolutely been crushing it with these comments throughout this show, and before that, we've been crushing it for 3 hours, man. It's been a great live stream. Great for the first ever live for the grind through 26 episodes, man.
Yeah, man, definitely for sure. I definitely appreciate everything that's went into it. But before we actually give our final comments, we have one final break for you guys, and then we will break off and let you all enjoy WrestleMania. So stay tuned.
Because we have some final thoughts. Absolutely, my man. See you guys here on the other side.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. You kids from the block, New Edition, dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
In a world where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams, whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening,
this Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
exclusively on SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony, or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another beating a dead horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network proudly presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson, live every weekday morning beginning April 29th at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. If you want your commanders to be repped right, well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report, every Tuesday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, 12:05 a.m. Central, on the SIRTOBA Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where's my soldiers? Right side. Commanders. Where's my soldiers? Left side.
If ain't no pain, then ain't no growth. To keep it 100, I came in to run it and bet if I had to, I'd do it again.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to this special episode of The Grind. Episode 26, where we're talking about our predictions for WrestleMania 41. And I have no one better, could think of no one better to have on this episode than the creator of SIRTOBA Media, the man that keeps this engine going, Mr. Drew Willingham. So for the last 3 hours and 2 minutes or so, we appreciate you all taking the time to sit with us, to enjoy and talk about the thing that we love, which is wrestling. Most of us who have been watching wrestling, been watching it all of our life. And tonight is the Super Bowl, the start of the Super Bowl of wrestling. So we went through the entire match card, both nights. And now we're going to, leave you guys to it by giving you some final words. So Mr. Drew Willingham, what is your final words for our people today?
Well, most importantly, I had to bring this out. You had that one out. I wanted to bring this out. My final word, we've talked a lot of wrestling within this show, but I'll leave it here with you to discuss this with you right here and now, as we have 60 plus people watching live between all the platforms. This belt right here is, a part of you as it is me, those like yourself, Cole, Kyle, the main ones that contribute to help me out with this channel on a weekly basis. This wouldn't be what it is without you guys either. So I appreciate, the praise that you gave me, for being the, I guess what you would say, the main one, the driving engine, like you said, and I appreciate all the strong words, but it wouldn't be possible without having individuals that contribute, because you can't do it all by yourself. So even though, I can contribute a good deal behind it, it's, at certain points, how life is. You can only, put yourself in so many places. You can't split yourself and make yourself do multiple places at once. So to have the help from, yourself, Cole, Kyle, and anybody else, down the road that comes out and is a part of this as we continue to do what we do out here in these streams. And thank you very much, because this belt right here, as you see in the And the graphic behind me, just like this one right here, it has the 4 main shows that I do, but the main one in the middle, the main symbol, is the brand. And it wouldn't be here without the contributions of everyone, including yourself, that has been a part of this. Watching what you've done on other platforms before and seeing the talent that you had, and then being able to have those discussions with you, and then you find your way back to the streams has been awesome to watch what you've done through 25 episodes. And me keeping up with all of them, the shorts you've done, like the talent, man, it's been awesome to watch. So to have you here, a part of this brand that, yes, I put the concepts together and thought of, the acronym of what SIRTOBA is and all that stuff. And it's very meaningful based on what I've been through in life, which I've hashed out several times throughout many platforms. But, very humble, unlike Logan Paul when it comes to certain things. Like, I enjoy what we can do because we have very little time each week to do what we enjoy to do, right? Because adulting comes first. We got to do with that, the real world, all that comes first. So to be able to have the short little windows of time, little pockets of time to do things with other people, to be able to make time to be here with you, I really appreciate the invitation to do this with you and be a part of this first ever live, episode that you've done, and hope we can do this again at some point. This one, of course, in a very extended one because of what it is that we're predicting, right? And what we were talking about. We had a lot of in-depth stuff. We had a lot of, in-depth conversations with our fans too. Very, very great interactions with the fans today for a very live, great PLE preview. So to have all that, to be here with you today, it meant the world. So I greatly appreciate you taking the time, but most importantly, being a part of this, because that's why we got to get up in person, man, because you got to hold this championship, and we got to get a photo for the graphics too of you with the belt, because this is a one and only. There is no mock belts. Of course, I've got the World Heavyweight Championship. You got a beautiful collection behind you, but it's all about being able to, leave your own mark, and you're doing that with the grind and with this platform that you're building within this podcast and what you're doing in your vision. And I love it, man. So keep up the great work, and look forward to coming back on here again at some point to discuss more wrestling for what we see fit.
So I appreciate everything you just said. For the story of what's been going on behind the scenes, and I want to first of all thank everyone that joined us today. Between he said 60 people was viewing between platforms. I have to look and see what is going on, because we had hundreds of views through the Grinds page and whatnot. It's just been amazing to have such interactions with you all, and this is the reason why we do this. We love this. Besides the fact that we just love wrestling, we connected on wrestling and whatnot. We love to interact with you all and get your thoughts and your opinions and how you feel and whatnot today. So first of all, thank you all. Number two, thank you to those that support me. You all know who you are. I don't want to go through a whole list of people, but you know who you are. A lot of times, Drew, you're not the only one I'm sending graphics to. Hey, what's your thoughts? I have a couple of friends who do content creation. Y'all, my wife does content creation as well. So, she it has been really the key to helping me get my angle right, or do this, or get my sound right. She has been very, very helpful in that regard. So thank you to her for that. Thank you to my brothers. Thanks to everybody, but especially you, man. As much as you've shown me love, I got to show you some love too. I was at a place at one point a couple of years ago where I was heavily into content creation and was really driving it. And then some things took place that, kind of killed that drive. And I'll be completely honest in that. We don't need to get into all of that, but it killed my drive. And it was a day I still have the screenshot in my phone. I just have to find it. But randomly one day you just reached out to me with an offer. You didn't know the circumstance at the time. You didn't know all the ins and outs of it at the time, but you just reached out and you're just like, look, man, I see potential. This is what I want to do. I think we'll be great as partners, etc. And I can honestly say I've had other offers come in before, but you were the first one that came up to my mind and the first one I was going to take, when I decided to finally come back. So it's shout out to you for being your authentic self, for bringing this platform on. So folks like us, like, Tyrone said something in there, with life being too busy. For sure, life has been too busy. It's crazy, but you are very, very organized and easy to work with, etc. And you've allowed me my own space to, do me. And I definitely appreciate that on a higher platform. I worked extremely hard before, and I'm still working just as hard now, but you have made it a lot easier for me to be able to do what I do. Just for y'all to know, he produced this entire show today. He deserves his flowers. So he produced this show today. Yes, it was some bits and pieces that I helped out with, but this gentleman kept everything going so we could have a smooth live stream today. So Drew, for everything that you've done, for creating SIRTOBA Media, for allowing myself, Kyle, Cole, and others to be able to be on this platform to, exploit our talents per se. I appreciate you, man. We brothers from a different mother, so it is what it is. We're gonna get up soon. Hopefully we can get out to a mania together and do some different things and events and stuff like that. We'll plan that stuff out. But appreciate you guys so far. If you have not already, follow SIRTOBA Media, like, share, subscribe. Drew showed the graphic earlier. There it is. It's back up there on the screen for you. We have it there. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter. Follow SIRTOBA Media on these platforms, y'all. Y'all do not want to miss what we have coming up on these platforms. It's full of shenanigery, but it's full of a lot of conversations about, different sports, etc. We cover a lot of things on this platform, so you don't want to miss what could be coming up on SIRTOBA Media. Please check out The Grind. The Grind will be available for you each and every Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Unless life gets in the way and I am unable to be here, I will be here for you all with an episode of The Grind. This is episode 26. The first live episode of The Grind. I feel like it's been a great success, and hopefully sometime soon in the future we can come back and be live again. So, Drew, did you have anything else before we head on out, sir?
This has been an absolute, like I said when I first came into this show, Korrey, this has been an honor, a joy, and a privilege, to be able to get up on your show and do this with you. I mean, of course, like you gave me the credit at the end for clicking the buttons and producing, which, I got to at least say you gave me the flowers, but this is the first time that I've ever really produced something that I wasn't really like the host of. So for me to know something, well enough to be able to do that, you can't just do what I did. It's very tough. So for those of you out there that have the want to do it, of course, you got to know how the platforms work. Do your homework. That's my best advice to you. I greatly appreciate the flowers, but I wish it was just as easy as getting in like a driver's seat, putting on that seatbelt and pushing the pedal, because it's not. A lot of time has gone into it, a lot of work, and a lot of that time I've spent with you, man. Like there's been a lot of evolution from what we talked about earlier when we first got up on that Legacy on Fire with Darrell, and then with episode 13 of the In or Out Sports Debate when I was shifting things around with there, and you were one of the first guests to come on that as that was shifting around. A lot of that has evolved, and I greatly appreciate your time, for that and what we've been able to accomplish. We talked a lot of wrestling today. We'll see which one of our predictions goes right, which one goes wrong, and maybe at some point soon we can get up here on another live on another Saturday. And of course, probably have to do a shorter episode, of course. But this was a big event, a big weekend, and we had a lot to cover. And I couldn't have done it without you, whether it was on my own platform. And I know you're saying vice versa, and I appreciate the praise and look forward to doing it again sometime.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, Constipated in Sin City has a question for you that he would like for you to answer. Not sure if you want to answer that.
I think that's one of those ones that if you reach out to SIRTOBAmedia@gmail.com or to any of these other platforms that we have listed between TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or X, formerly known as Twitter, you can reach out via message, and I will be happy to answer any of those questions that you have on behalf of the SIRTOBA Media brand through Messenger. But when it comes to video, when it comes to my man with 2 N's product right here, again, you can find this show each and every Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern time on SIRTOBA Media, as well as his respective platforms as well. Search The Grind on Google and you will find Korrey right here. I swear you will, and find some great content. Prior to this one, 26 episodes now, including this one.
Yeah, man. So on behalf of Drew and myself, we appreciate you all watching today. Thank you for joining. Thank you for all of your input, your interactions. Please go and enjoy WrestleMania. Get you something to eat. Remember what we told you your breaks are at. We told you where your breaks is at, so make sure you take your breaks, okay? But from Drew Willingham, myself, thank you. Enjoy your night. You can catch The Grind on many different social media platforms. They will be available for you to see here in 1 second. But remember, as always, stay true to what you do, stay true to why you do, and always stay true to you. See you next week.
I push that way to get that goal, but I don't break 'cause I've been broke.